What an outstanding Friday night we got for you guys. Yeah, everybody take a seat, will you? Everybody relax. I got news for you. What an outstanding show. And I can tell you it's a great show because the pre-show was downright hysterical. Downright hysterical, and rightfully so with this panel. Guys, I want to say thanks to everybody. We got a lot of news to talk about. It's not often on Fridays that we get late-breaking news that's this hot. You know, generally it might be a little something about a game, a developing team, somebody was acquired. This is kind of a big deal. It's kind of got the community in an uproar. So if I will, please say, tweet it out, share it with somebody, copy it, paste it on some kind of social media somewhere. I would truly, truly appreciate it. Shout out also to the SlaynChilean. He says, what's up, Mooch? I didn't get a chance to type to him in the chat. So what's up, Slayn? Welcome back to the Mooch Maniac family members. Speaking of that, guys, I want to say thanks to every one of you guys. It means a lot. We've gotten new subscribers, new Mooch Maniac family members over the past 7 days, and it really, really means a lot. Please, guys, take a look and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Take a look right above that description. You'll see the join button. And if you would be so kind to join the family, I would truly, truly appreciate it. That being said as well, we've got a huge event set up for December 8th. We've got two great things. We've got the Halo Infinite campaign launching. Of course, you guys know that. And we also have the new Warzone map that's coming out. Very, very excited about that as well. This being said, let me just read down and say thank you to each one of these Mooch Maniac family members. Then we're going to get right to this panel. Thanks to the great Sir X-Man, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, Frostbite Slash, MumbleRanting Gaming, Tyson Web 509, TrueWiddy, Kn1ght Ripper7, Big Chuck 777, Alphonso Carter, Punkidish, BRAP, Jamie, Lady Foxfire, Replicant, Evan Fassbender, Damion, SlaynChilean is back. Hustle and Motivate is also back with the family. Thank you, Hustle. Appreciate having you back. Our major Mooch Maniacs, Smokes 901, Tactical Gamer, Supreme Samurai, Gaming with Persona, Donnell Brown, That Guy Smitty, 4-Star General, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and our VIP Mooch Maniacs. The great Marty Bison is home. Thank God we were concerned last week. Rated D Demonic, Strictly Gaming, Forkboy Gaming, Sean Slompka, The Wise Old Gamer, Wendigo Rex, Bryant Carter, Remarkable Knights, The Great Percolator 9000, and our honorable mentions. We don't know where you went. All-Round Gamer, you were with us for so long. MexJ88, Sergeant Salty Nuts, Zumbila Ice Cream, Rate the Emperor, Wilmy Hood, and the Forever Mooch Maniac, Longshot 316. Again, guys, before we get to that panel, please hit the like button, tweet it out, and let people know that we are live. That being said, I've got the one and only, and I can't wait. I'm really just kind of chomping at the bit to hear what Crap's got to say tonight. The great Crap Gamer is back with us tonight. Crap, how you doing this evening?
I am truly blessed. You know,
yes.
Blessed me, and I'm very appreciative to be here. Vertical, as always, blessed for that.
Vertical's
Thankful
great
for that. You know, really appreciate the invitation to come back and give my perspective on the greatness that is gaming. I love it.
Yes.
And I can't wait to get started.
Appreciate that, Crap. It's going to be great to hear your input tonight, buddy. I really, really can't
Indeed.
wait. And then I get my buddy here, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, BRAP. BRAP is back in the house. And you know what? His blood alcohol level is 0.0. It's fantastic to have the great BRAP back. The BRAP that we know. BRAP, how are you doing this evening, buddy?
What up, dog?
What up, dog? Love it, man. Love it. Great to have BRAP here as well. We got our special guest here, too, as well. We're missing the Xbox 448. He may be joining us later. He may be working this week. I'm not sure. But the holidays, things happen, folks. Things happen. But let me tell you something. I'm grateful, very grateful to have these special guests with us. Let me start with the one and only. You guys know him from the Iron Lords podcast. He's just very, very opinionated. I love his takes. And, you know, sometimes me and Addict will go back and forth, and it's one of my favorite things. I love it when he responds to one of my tweets because it is always a great conversation, and I get to do it live with the man tonight.
You mean when I respond to your tweet and explain why you're wrong?
Oh, I was just going to say, it's when you say I'm wrong, I come back, I go, no, wait, you're wrong. And then at the end, we both go, well, you know, either we agree or we agree to disagree at some point.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, it's agree to disagree.
You know what, though? But there's still great conversations nonetheless. The great Gaming Addict is back with us. Addict, how you doing this evening, buddy?
I appreciate the invite. You know, at the end of the day, like, regardless, like, I've never had an issue with you, like, you know, engaging with you, because I know at the end of the day, like, there's respect there. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one's going to talk off the crazy stuff, give me some crazy gifts or anything like that.
No.
Like, I know there's respect there, and that's why I don't mind. You know, if I see Mooch with a crazy take, I'll be like, let me slide into that comment section.
You certainly do, buddy, and you do it so professionally. I gotta say, Addict. But tonight's gonna be great because I do want to get your opinion on the hot takes this evening. This is gonna be a great show. Speaking of that, speaking of hot takes, another gentleman that's here with us tonight, and it's great to have him with us this evening. The great Nicholas Downing is back with us as well. Nick is, as you guys know, writer for also the Iron Lords podcast and the IronLordsGaming.net. Great to have Nick back here. Nick is, as I always say on the show, very similar. Reminds me of Eric Jackson. Eric and Nick really kind of keep things grounded a lot of the times. He'll kind of come into the show and he'll say, guys, I'm glad you guys are portraying your true feelings outward, but let's take a step back and look at it this way. So the great Nicholas Downing is back with us. Nick, how you doing this evening?
I'm good. It's Friday night. I am medically relaxed, as one would say, and
that's nice.
I'm here to party. Let's go.
All right, outstanding. Great to have you here, Nick. I'm glad that you are relaxed. I would like to have some of that after the show. I'm a little wired. I'm always wired. It's a me problem. The great Worry Ward 73 too, guys. I just literally threw the Mooch symbol out in the air, and I said, Worry, if you got a chance, you got some time tonight, could you stop by the show? He says, you know what? I'll let you know. What does he do? He pops on right at 7 o'clock, right on time. This man's always on time, and he's got great takes, and there's no better night than tonight with the hot news that broke. Worry, welcome back to the show, buddy. How are you this evening?
I am artificially relaxed right now.
I see.
With a couple beers. I feel good. I'm great. I'm not as blessed as crap. He had like 7 or 8 blessed in there. I'm blessed. But I'm doing good.
You're vertical, so that's good.
Sometimes.
Very good.
Yeah.
I have a lot more fun when I'm horizontal, though.
See,
I hear that.
Yeah, baby.
There goes the after dark part of the show. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's go ahead and get into our
Probably
first
not
topic
tonight,
here.
though. Damn it.
And what's the big discussion point today is, of course, the rumor leaked from Bloomberg, and you guys know this already, that the PlayStation is rumored to be having their services. They're going to be kind of coming after Xbox with their version of services, and they're calling it PlayStation Spartacus. I believe that's just going to be a Project Spartacus.
Well,
I'm sure they have a different name for it.
At this point, Mooch, like, is it really rumors when Jason Schreier says something? Like,
you're right. No, Attic, you're 100% right. I would like to just say it's confirmed 100% or 1,000%, but I always get somebody in the chat that'll say,
he might get
a rumor. Nobody said anything.
He might get certain things wrong, but most of the time, the overall story's right.
This is true. Jason, I think he's got he's got quite the impeccable record when it comes to breaking news or rumors that end up becoming true stories. So, you know what?
Besides that, Sony said they were working on the counterpunch beforehand anyway.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that.
Of course they are.
Everyone's
give me a break.
Well, there you go. I called it. Everybody with the I called it's today. I got to come up with something.
I was right. I was right. But the funny part about the I called it crowd is that crowd called it that they would put everything day and date in there, all the big exclusives, which that is not the case according to this report.
Not yet.
And if you want to talk about calling it, I said that they needed to rebrand PlayStation Now because people were confused since that was a cloud streaming service at first, and people to this day still look at that and I have to tell people, no, you can download the PS4 games. It's very confusing. To a lot of people, they don't realize that you can actually download the games in there. Also, there's no PS5 games in there, so that was a problem. So you knew between that and the fact that Jim Ryan literally came out and said we're going to come out with something, we're working on something right now to counter it. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen. So thankfully they're going to do that. Not only that, but look, it's going to look good for them when they're like, we've got the most subscribers ever, because basically if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you're all of a sudden subscribed to their new deal. Right? I mean, they're going to have 3 tiers, and it's, PlayStation Plus Super, PlayStation Plus Ultimate, or however they're going to do it. So, I think people are going to have to look at it one way or the other. Like, I'm sure there's a whole group of people that are like, well, if you put down Game Pass and you can't praise this, I personally don't care about this or Game Pass. But, I think it's good options for people, and they needed, something that was a little bit more recognized as value.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that does it, for the people that are really interested in that, But I feel like, for me personally, like, I don't really care about either one of them, really. If you know what I mean? Like, if there's a game that I want to get, I buy it. And,
there's a big difference, though, between that and Game Pass. Big difference.
Yeah, the day one stuff.
No, there's a bigger difference.
What do you got, Worry?
The difference is they have these 3 tiers. It's not going to be a success, in my opinion, unless the content on that 3rd tier is also downloadable to your console and not stream only. A lot of their content, PS1, PS2, yes. If they work on that and get it to the point where it's downloadable to your console, then it is a viable option to Game Pass. It can compete. But if that 3rd tier is just PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP streamed, Nobody's streaming the content now. They're not going to do that. It's not going to be a success, in my opinion.
Out of curiosity, what do you guys feel like that third tier would be? I don't think it would be their old catalog. I think that would probably be like with the second, or even maybe just bundled with the first tier. Like, because if anything, PlayStation Now is already that, and if they combine them, they already have that in there. So, like, is PlayStation Now going to be the second tier? Like, I'm kind of confused. Like, if there's going
to cease to exist,
huh?
Crap,
It's not
you're
gonna
botting.
exist.
You're botting. Can
No,
you
but
try
that's
to-
what I'm saying. They're merging them together. So a lot of their back catalog's already in PlayStation Now.
Right, but it's
So-
only streamable.
Well, I get that, but what I'm saying is, like, if they merge those together, are they going to make that like the second tier? Like, I don't think what
Here's
those-
what there's an article, and it actually talked about what you said, and they said in the article, the first tier includes the same benefits as PlayStation Plus,
Yep.
which is required for online gaming and comes with some free games each month. A higher tier offers access to a gaming catalog like Game Pass. So I'm assuming that means those games are downloadable to your console. And a third tier will include extended demos, game streaming, and access to a larger library that includes PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games. And I think that's where, if it's stream only for that content, it's a complete fail, in my opinion,
Absolutely.
when it comes to comparing it to Game Pass.
Yes, I agree with that. And actually, I have that right there verbatim. What Worry said is exactly what they're pitching here. Is the first, second,
my
and
only
third tiers.
question would be like, okay, so I mean, there's obviously a lot of questions, but you don't put backwards compatibility behind a paywall. So would they just have these games? Let's just say they're backwards compatible. Or are they just going to come out with an announcement saying, starting today, these games are backwards compatible on your PlayStation 5 if you have it digitally, or you can buy it digitally, or if you have a disc or whatever. And then also we have a bunch of these games in our service now too. Like, that's something that they would have to do. They couldn't just put everything behind a paywall, and say, okay, well, now there's this or this. Like,
Yeah, which is why
I'm
I think it's going to be
yeah.
stream only. They couldn't put it
and
behind
if
a
it's
wall
stream
if it
only,
was
what's
native.
the difference between what they're doing right now?
There's
where
no
that's
difference.
stream
That's why
only?
it's
Yeah,
not going to be
exactly.
successful, right?
Yeah,
Well,
like
there doesn't necessarily need to have to be a difference. This is consolidating services as it looks right now. They're consolidating everything. I have to wonder if we might see other Sony services rolled into that top tier. Like, could you perhaps maybe get Crunchyroll rolled in there? Some of the other things, like Sony's about bundling everything together. They want everyone to be engrossed in their ecosystem, whether it be their games, their movies, their anime, whatever it may be. So that third tier could be in relation to other Sony services. So think your tier 1's your PlayStation Plus, your tier 2's your PlayStation Plus your PlayStation Now, and then your tier 3 you roll in Crunchyroll and maybe some form of Sony movie service or something along those lines. Maybe, who knows?
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't agree with you.
The thing is the biggest thing is this. I agree with Worry in the fact that I feel like this is going to be streamable, because I feel like, to Crap's point as well, is they're not going to just all of a sudden announce that there's all these PS3 games are backwards compatible and all these PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games are now available, if they're already there, because like these games already exist. Like these PlayStation 3 games you can play on PlayStation Now already, but you can't buy them. They only exist within that service. So unless they are going to allow you to buy and download those games somehow, it just creates more problems. So I think it's streamable, and I agree with Worry in the fact that if it's still just streamable, then it's not competition with Game Pass if you're not doing day one and you're not offering full downloads on your entire library.
All right, so to me, the way you guys described, because I've been doing stuff all day. Like, I woke up to news. I ain't even read stuff. Like, it seems like the higher tiers is where the PlayStation Now is going to be, correct? Is that what we think?
No, there's a regular tier that's PlayStation Plus, like right now. There's a middle tier.
That's what I'm saying. The higher tiers is going to be
the highest tier is probably going to offer the streaming of the entire not the entire, but PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 and PSP catalog.
And PSP, yeah.
But that's PlayStation
That's the big
Now,
difference.
though, isn't it?
Well, the only thing with PlayStation now doesn't have is PSP games.
PSP.
And no, there's a PSP game. I think Peace Walker is in there. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker is there.
Oh, is Peace Walker in there?
I think. No, I'm sorry. That's
They
actually
Vita too. So I mean,
that's
they could
actually
be-
natively playable on the Xbox. Peace Walker.
Yeah, they could have been able. They could be redoing their whole store to accommodate this. I mean, we don't really know.
Yeah, I'm sure
To
they're
You know what I
me,
mean?
like
And I think
I don't know. I'm not feeling that. Like, cause
Look, they could
to me,
easily do PS1, PS2 backwards compatibility, all that, like easily.
They just don't want to do the work.
Yeah, the PS3 backwards compatibility would be the hard part due to the cell. I mean, that stuff
Right.
It could
even
be
on
done.
top tier PCs is hard to emulate. So unless they could like figure it out, maybe they have. I don't know, but if it's just streaming stuff, I agree. It's not really. It doesn't really matter. But it is smart to end the PlayStation Now brand because nobody cares about that. Like I hate to say it like that, but PlayStation Now was a fail right from the start. People don't want to stream their games. It doesn't perform well. It's not something that the majority of people want to do. And and people reacted like that. Once they started allowing downloads, even though not everybody knew it, that's when they started seeing a few million subscribers. It wasn't until that point. It's something like 75% of the users, I think, came out, download the game. So hardly anybody was streaming the games. So I feel like, they also said that they're going to have a tier possibly where you can stream stuff mobilely or something like that. So I would, that's something to kind of consider as well. Interesting to see how they kind of react to that come springtime. And, like for me, I said, I don't care either way.
Let's not forget, we also haven't heard anything from Sony on this yet, right? So this is a lot of everyone kind of speculating. I want to say shout out to Lady Foxfire. Thank you, Lady Foxfire, for that super chat. And also Magnum Visuals comes and he says,
apparently
now
people
it's
are getting
Sony's-
crackling sound and stuff, which is what I hear every single week. Like it sounds so botten and like I don't know.
I have no idea what you just said.
You didn't
I'm
hear me?
sorry. Yeah, I hear you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
They're saying there's a crackling sound from the sound.
I know what
In
they're
the
saying.
stream.
I've got new kind of setup going, so I'm still kind of fine tuning everything. So that may be what it is. I'm trying to work it every week, but the problem is until the show goes live, everybody in the Discord when I run my tests, it sounds perfect. Like when we were all talking, everybody was fine before the show. It's when we go live for some reason it does a bit of a crackling. I did listen to the show last week when people said that, and it really wasn't that bad. I did hear it. But you really got to put your ear to the speaker to hear it.
I mean, I'm not listening to the thing, but even like
Yeah,
just
it's once we go
what I'm
live.
hearing,
I don't know what it is.
What I'm hearing, it's like it always just sounds so
pops.
bad.
It pops. Yeah, it's worse on our end than it is for the audience. The
I
audience can
miss
hear it, but it's worse
Google
on our end.
Hangouts.
You know what's
easy,
even
you could
worse is
hear-
talking about it for 7 minutes. But you know what I wanted to say
I hear
was,
ya.
Magnum Visual says, so now with Sony's new mobile patent, they can have PS Vita library accessible to billions. I mean, I agree with Worry, though, in a sense. He says that, if this is a streaming thing, it's just bad.
We've
Right?
heard that before.
I mean, streaming- yes.
What if? Hold on. Wasn't there a patent or something for a PlayStation mobile controller, where it's like similar to like the Razer ones that are coming up for Android phones for xCloud? Wasn't there a patent for that earlier this week?
I don't know. I know there was a patent for trophies with older games and stuff.
I
Oh,
remember seeing a patent. It was like a PlayStation controller where you could insert your Android phone into it or something along those lines. But maybe PlayStation's starting to roll out their cloud gaming initiative similar to what Xbox has with Project xCloud, because we had that Azure deal
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
And now, maybe this is the evolution of PlayStation Now, lose the branding, and this is their foray into cloud gaming to compete with the big dogs of Xbox and Stadia and everything along those lines.
Stadia.
Hey,
It's still a thing.
Nick, yeah, Stadia, right? Real quick, Nick, to your point, Sony could be planning a PlayStation controller based on this patent that you're talking about. I'm actually looking at it right now. Basically, looks like a DualSense or DualShock.
Yeah, it's like a
in the middle,
dual
yeah.
sense and with a phone in the middle, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It very much resembles like the Razer, what people use for the for streaming Xbox on their mobile phone. So
Yeah. No, I think that when it comes down to the one thing that I did want to kind of discuss though tonight, and I just find it interesting, is that everyone's linking
Mooch,
this immediately to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right. And I
real
don't,
quick, Mooch.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, someone mentioned like I think it was Nick mentioned like Sony Entertainment or like Crunchyroll and stuff. I think that's where like they could really add some additional value and something they could offer as just in terms of a differentiator. Like no one else can do or offer what they offer in terms of entertainment. Sony movies, music. Gamers do like to watch movies, listen to music. They have Sony television, so I mean they can actually incorporate some of the other entertainment things that they have that they partake in into the service, and that would really, I mean, in terms of differentiator, that would really be a big differentiator for them in terms of services.
Sorry about that, BRAP. I stepped away to try and fix a cable. My apologies, everybody. This is the.
I was like,
this is the,
I was like, did we drop?
No, the difficult part of having the podcast is you guys don't get to see the behind the scenes. I need a Scott the engineer here.
Mooch, yeah, you need an engineer, man.
I do. I need Scott the engineer here. Like, Scott, someone fix this quick. But nonetheless, no, I think that, and I kind of wanted to get Addict's take on it, though, to be honest with you, because that's where I was going. And I apologize, BRAP, if you asked me a question. I didn't hear it. Did you ask me a question?
No, you're good. No, I didn't. You're good, man.
Addict, I do want to ask you, though, like, what's your take when you see a lot of people go, well, there it is. There it is. Clear as day. Sony's going for the Xbox, way of life. I don't see this kind of as a hand-in-hand thing with Game Pass at all. They're both services, but they're clearly doing a different strategic push here, right? You've got Xbox's whole push with their service is what's about to happen in the future games. That's what they're pushing. Sony with this, currently with what we're reading, is relying on their nostalgia factor of their back catalog of amazing titles. It's two different approaches. Would you agree or you disagree?
It's two different approaches right now. I think Sony sees the way the industry's going, because people act like Game Pass is like the only subscription service in town. EA has one, Ubisoft has one. I think Sony's doing this not necessarily to compete. They're doing this to future proof, because at the end of the day, like, let's say they don't do this. They don't make any attempts whatsoever to make any type of subscription service. And then that's what the industry becomes. And then they're so far behind, they slip behind it, because at the end of the day, I've always said that, and I'll say this to the day I die. You look, you know what everyone in the world values over everything? Money. And if you can save money, people are going to do it no matter where you are in the world. And that Game Pass is a very good thing to have. It gives value to your console.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, Sony sees it as a threat. They do, because they wouldn't do what they're doing if they didn't see it as a threat. They wouldn't put, forms of stuff in marketing now, because they there's been a lot of rumors going around that they're starting to put subscription services in marketing. So, they see it as a threat. So I think their mindset's like, look, we do well, but we don't know where the future is going to be. So let's put everything in the correct way that we need going. And if stuff does go that way, we can literally just hit a switch and put our stuff on there day one.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying they're setting themselves up. That's what you're saying. They're setting themselves up. If they want to do it, they can pull the trigger and do it.
They'll probably spend the first couple years figuring out how they want the service to function.
Yeah,
get all the kinks worth good, and then let's say 2025, 2026, Microsoft does show up like a lot of people in Microsoft thinks. Then they already have certain contingencies in place to compete with that. So they're like, okay, look, Ubisoft's taken off. It's more about the Netflix model now. Because do you honestly think that the exact same way that the market was ran in terms of video was the same way it was ran 10 years ago? No. Like, Netflix and other streaming services changed that whole scene. Mm-hmm. That's why you see places like Dish Network and stuff becoming fossils, because they're holding on to a formula that no longer works. So the thing is, Sony don't want to be in that situation. They don't want to be the next Blockbuster. They don't want, I'm not saying their games don't work. Their games are very successful. But that's right now with the current standards that gaming is today.
Yeah.
When you put into Game Pass going on PC, Game Pass going on the desktop, Game Pass going on mobile, Game Pass be on Xbox Live, they would be stupid not to at least get those infrastructures in place.
Mm-hmm.
For stuff goes left, they can go left too. They don't got to go right.
Right. No, it's funny because people have been saying,
Mooch,
BRAP, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that what Addict's describing is very similar to their approach when you think about online gameplay, right? With the PlayStation 2 and Xbox Live came out on the OG Xbox
Yes.
20-something years ago. Sony, again, kind of, tiptoeing around, the idea of, online infrastructure or online play. I mean, they did have that feature in PlayStation 2.
Yes.
It wasn't as robust as Xbox, and then PlayStation 3, they built it out a little bit more. And then PlayStation 4, we saw last generation, they really went all in on online multiplayer play and with PlayStation Plus and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree with Addict. Like they're definitely taking those steps, and that's kind of Sony's MO. If you look at what they've done the last 20 years, to kind of dip their toes and continue to do what they're doing, and then pivot when they need to, or as Addict said, turn on the switch if they have to.
Yeah, I mean, so Addict says this tonight. Addict's not the first one to say this. I mean, we've heard this from a number of people, and a lot of different podcasts say the same thing, is that this is the way that the world is going. And that's true. But again, I got to say something. Addict, again, I'm just countering it with a thought, okay? What's good for the goose is usually good for the gander, but that's not necessarily the truth all the time. And what I mean by that is again, it's typically because I don't eat dinner and I'm starving by the time CrossFire comes on. But like if Sony has that dish that everybody wants, they don't have to follow that rule. When you say Netflix, stop and think about it for a second. Netflix originals. Nobody heard of them. Nobody's ever heard of them. Some stick, some are awful. Don't know. Have no idea. So they're all day and date. And we make the decision whether they're good or not. What Sony knows is Sony has I'll say a half dozen, and I know a lot of Sony fans are going to get mad and say there's more. That's fine. I'm just going to say they have 6 big ticket items, right? They can decide that they want to sell this thing, make 8 to 10 million, sell to 8 to 10 million units, and then in 6 months to a year, put it on the same thing you're saying, Addict, the same thing, which, by the way, I completely agree with. That is the way that we are going to start consuming media. But they don't have to do that. They don't. They can go ahead and stagger. They can stagger. It's the same thing right now. The NFL can make a lot of money, close up the stadiums, and pay and just charge an armload to watch these games. But they still have the traditional people going there and sitting in the seats. You know why? Because they're still selling a traditional hot dog and a corn dog and a thing of popcorn to everybody, and that's where they make their money. Sony can make the 8 to 10 million unit sales, and then they can go ahead and do what you said, have this service where they then put it into Spartacus 6 months later, 12 months later, whatever they want. That's up to them. That's not up to me to decide. But that's the thing. They don't have to do what Microsoft's doing. See, Microsoft, except for Halo and Gears, Halo and Gears were showing decline in sales over the years. That they had to kind of go this route. Sony may have to do that in the future, but they don't have to do that now.
I don't necessarily think. I think the way the way that the Xbox One brand was received, had something to do with it. But I don't think it was the prime reason that they did the subscription service. Their entire company went towards that way. Like the whole company, like from even Office, you rent that shit now. Like you don't just buy it. So I think sooner or later, even if they were selling well, I think Game Pass would have showed up, because that's where when the companies go in a direction, they're not just let Xbox go the other direction. They want
absolutely
everyone in the same direction, because they feel if certain parts of Microsoft's doing something, that means Microsoft feels very comfortable with the direction that's going. Mm-hmm. So if multiple departments are going that direction, why wouldn't Microsoft not back the Xbox division into doing that as well? Because they believe that
I'm glad
industry's going.
I completely and utterly agree with him. And BRAP, I'll give you the mic in a second. I just want to say, when everybody sits there and everybody does a one-line tweet, Phil Spencer saved Xbox. One day we're going to get a memoir or a book written that shows when everybody that is in power now leaves. What's going to happen is
Phil Spencer candles as we speak.
Please do, crap.
I say my little prayer.
They smell like Axe body spray, I'm sure.
Great. Phil saved Xbox as of this date.
But I think what the important thing about it is that what Lord Addict just said, I kind of agree with. I do. I agree that. Right, Satya said basically, we're not going to find this stuff out what actually happened behind the curtain until these guys are not in power anymore. But they probably said, if you want to save Xbox and you want Xbox to remain with Microsoft, it's got to fall in line with our services. It's got to.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's their DNA now.
It is.
And everything at Microsoft used to revolve around Windows. Remember the story of the conception of the Xbox? Does it have Windows? And we want Windows in the living room, and that's why because they feared Sony was you got to overtake the living room, and Bill Gates wanted Windows in the living room, and the Xbox was a conduit to that. But now it's different. Now it's not about Windows anymore for Microsoft. It's all about Azure. And that's what Xbox feeds into now, and that's their bread and butter as a company. So
Yeah, the thing is, they can both have services because they've both had services for a while. The difference is Microsoft is strictly pretty much a services company, right? I mean, they are, and
Yeah,
Sony is
absolutely.
still technically a hardware company. So
hardware electronics company.
Yeah. So I think that's a major difference that people kind
And
of
entertainment company too. Crap.
forget about it. And also the other thing I want to point out is everybody's like the Netflix of this. They don't ever look at the money that Netflix makes, which isn't much. Like PlayStation makes way more than Netflix does. Like look it up. They just do. The reason is because if you have a service that has to have that content in there all the time, you're paying so much for that content to be made that you never really make anything off of it. And also Sony makes, for the most part, different types of games than Microsoft. Microsoft makes games like Halo and Forza where you got to keep coming back to it. I know other people might play through games multiple times. I played through a single player game. That's pretty much it for me. You know what I'm saying? So I could just imagine people abusing some kind of thing. Okay, well, this month Sony's big God of War came out, so let me get a subscription real quick for $10, beat that, and then let it lapse until 4 months later when the next big one comes out, and then pay my $10 and play that one again. They normally would have got $70 a pop. So I think that people kind of look at it differently. Whereas with Microsoft, people pay because Sea of Thieves, it's recurring, Forza recurring, Halo recurring, Gears recurring. They got all these games that are just service based. State of Decay, just how it is. Those are the ones that they put the most effort and things into, and those are and people want to subscribe for those things. So two different approaches, and they can do that. I don't think one of them is necessarily good, one necessarily bad. I just think they're different. And people I don't know why people want to lump them together so badly. They can both have services and still have different services. Like Sony could maybe want to put third-party stuff day and date, some third-party stuff, while not putting their own big first-party stuff in day and date. They could put smaller stuff. I think one of the places where Microsoft Game Pass really had an advantage is they put a lot of small stuff, because let's be honest, Microsoft hadn't put anything into themselves for a year, right? Like the first party AAA wise, a year basically without anything. So the people that were hyping up Game Pass the whole year prior, it was always small stuff like The Ascent, or I can't wait to play The Ascent. The Medium. Like Sony could do that too. Sony could easily get, Kn1ght could have been a day one in their subscription service, right?
Yes.
Like they could always do stuff like that. And I think that's where people kind of, really kind of have the misnomer. They can also put some of their older stuff in there. Why not? They already have the PlayStation Plus collection. So older stuff you could put in there. You might not put stuff day and date, but maybe a year later. Why not? A year and a half, like 2 years later, because that stuff's going on PC anyway 2 years later. So you might as well do the same thing. Hey, put it in there. You're still going to have anybody that really is interested is going to buy it day one anyway. So, who wants to wait for that stuff?
Yeah, and I like where crap went with that crap.
I never understood that.
I had a note here, and I'm glad you brought it up. That was something that I was going to bring up, too, is one thing that you can do with this Spartacus that I've only seen one or two people mention in all the threads I've been reading all day, is that Sony doesn't have to go ahead and put their first party in there, but they can certainly do the same deals that Microsoft's doing with third party and put them in.
For sure. That Fist game, Sifu, or Sifu,
Fist. You're right. You're 100% right. I mean,
all that stuff.
Kn1ght or Kn1ght. I always say it wrong, and I apologize. But that's
I say Kn1ght because everybody calls it that, but it's really Kn1ght.
I think
if you play the game, they just call her Kn1ght.
It depends on how aggressive Sony is. Like I think they'll put the little the big indie games that they're working with, but I don't know if they'll go as far as put third party stuff in there. And I think if you're just putting the indie stuff in there and you're not putting your stuff in there, you're not putting third party stuff in there, because the amount of money it takes to put some of these titles into these subscription services is a lot.
It's a fortune.
I don't know if Sony would put dish at that kind of money.
They might not.
Well, listen. I'll throw some idea. Okay, so if this had been what they did years ago, Rocket League would have been a day one launch in their subscription service. That was huge. Fall Guys, day one in their subscription service. That was huge for them, right? These are all things that are going day one. What the hell is that crappy game that used to be good? Oddworld. Right? That went day one.
And I totally
All Stars went day one. Like they could easily do. They could easily do that.
I agree with you, Crap, but at the end of the day, like, is that going to be enough to move the actual service?
I don't
Well,
know,
like,
but I mean, because if you
I
think
don't
about
think
it,
it is.
what helped Game Pass grow this past year prior to Halo and Forza releases?
I mean, they put Outriders in there, the show in there this year.
But
like,
Outriders only had 3 million players total across every
but
platform.
it's not about it's not always just about getting newer subscribers either. It's about maintaining the ones you currently have.
But
So
that game
when you
died really quickly, though. I mean, the show did well, I guess. But other than that, I mean, that's not going to help grow. Why couldn't? I mean, they could put the show in there too. I mean, like we never know. I mean, that's not really exclusive anymore.
To me too is like PlayStation's already been doing this. They just ain't been doing it to the service. They've been doing it to PlayStation Plus. I mean, you saw Fall Guys winning PlayStation Plus day one.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've already doing this. So what's really changed at that point?
They launched that fighting game day one. I don't even remember because I haven't played it yet. But
why change stuff so drastically if they're only going to do what they're already doing?
I think it just needs a rebrand.
Yes. Yeah, that's something we've been saying for a long time.
Actually,
Yes. Needs a rebrand.
For a point too, I think a lot of PlayStation's rebranding on their services so much is because you got to remember a lot of these companies are very investor driven, and I know that's really boring to talk about in a games podcast, but you have to imagine, and whether people want to admit or not, Game Pass has that thing where you've got investors who are going, well, what's your answer to Game Pass? What's your answer to Game Pass? I'm sure there's people at Sony, especially Jim Ryan, who are constantly getting the question, well, what are you doing in your ecosystem that is like Game Pass? Because Game Pass
like that reaching billions of people. That's all PR nonsense too. Like people
but that's the thing.
But didn't Sony just recently say something similar to that?
They did, because where else are you going to go? You're already making more money than you ever have before. So where can you go? Well, we're going to put our old shit on PC, and then we're also going to hope to reach millions of gamers. 50 million gamers one day. Oh, that sounds great. We believe in you.
Yeah, but that's the thing is what people realize is like what so many people misinterpret when PlayStation and Xbox say things is that they're trying to appeal to us. They're not trying to appeal to us. They're trying to appeal to their investor base. And if this is just a culmination of services, this is to appease their investors, and they are looking at the value of what they're providing through their services. Like, I know a lot of people ran doom and gloom because PlayStation Plus subscriptions went down in their quarterly announcement. But the thing is for that is like that we were getting out of lockdown. A lot more people let their subscriptions lax because they were going back into things. That's why Game Pass didn't grow at the same rate it was. Things were getting back to normal, so more people were unplugging. That's part of it. But as an investor, you're going, okay, so why are our services down? Yes, the competitor isn't growing as much, but why are we going down? What are you doing about that? So by consolidating, it makes PlayStation Now stop looking like a dead animal on the floor, because let's be honest, it's like 3 million subs after being on the market for years. So that's something they don't want to talk about. Roll that into PlayStation Now, which is a very successful subscription service. You get rid of that black sore that's on your financials with PlayStation Now, and you have this now super service that you can market in whichever direction they choose to do it. And I feel like with PlayStation, it'll be like anything else they do. They're going to do it in quarter measures versus going all in. They're going to go, okay, so we're going to try this. And if this works, then we'll do this. It's the same thing. Like everyone says like, oh, Jim Ryan's really good at backpedaling and, all he does is backpedal. But the thing is he says something that fits with the information they have. And then when they get data that contradicts what they're saying, they have to follow the data. People don't care about old games, but it's data is showing now people care more about old games. Now we're getting patents for PlayStation backwards compatibility, and they're looking more into that stuff because it's what their audience is clamoring for. And at the end of the day, that's what they're chasing. They're chasing to keep the investors happy and to keep more people engaged on their platform. When people talk about engagement, people get lost in player counts across specific titles. what these console manufacturers want you to do is spend your time most on their platform. They don't care if you spend $60 or $600 on your Xbox or PlayStation. They want to keep you engaged on their servers, playing their games, and part of their numbers to keep
I've heard this,
investors
Nick,
happy.
They even care about like the numbers. This, and gamers don't want to hear this, but they want you to even watch Netflix, Apple TV. They want you to do them on their box. They're looking at all types of engagement. I heard that, Nick. I think you're 100% accurate.
Of course they are, because you look at the Wii, right? That thing was a huge success for Nintendo, but everybody had one and nobody played it.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
like the Wii had some of the highest hardware sales, but also had some of the poorest software, connection numbers out there. And that was the struggle with the Wii, because like even my mom had a Wii, but she only had like 2 games for it.
Yeah.
So like you don't necessarily want that. It's just about keeping people engaged. And that's what this is all about. That's why the free to play market's the way it is.
I have a feeling that people, there's a lot of up and downs when it comes to Jim Ryan, or Jim Dance Move Ryan's what King likes to call him.
Jim Dandy, as we call him.
But I have a feeling that the end of his reign, he's going to make Sony more money than any of the other ones did.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely possible. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's definitely within the cards.
They're already making more money than they ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and you look at all the success PlayStation has in Europe, it's because of Jim Ryan. Like, PlayStation was predominantly second place in Europe for a very long time during the Xbox 360 generation, but Jim Ryan did some really incredible things during the PlayStation 4 generation to turn Europe into basically a PlayStation stronghold.
Although you got to figure it's not very hard to beat a company in Microsoft who basically gave up for 4 years with the Xbox One.
It's not even just that. I mean, you got to look at the beginning of the Xbox One generation. They had FIFA like that. That's extremely popular over. They had a huge huge pulse on the racing market between both of the Forzas. It's one of the biggest things that I don't understand is why, like, Microsoft needs to do better over there, because they have literally that pulse by the gaming market and they still lose over there. So like especially back then, they had FIFA, one of the most iconic things over there. And I even said, you can look at IOPs where I said they're going to regret losing that marketing deal.
Yeah, I think when they lost FIFA's marketing deal, I thought that was that and Call of Duty, to be honest with you. I still, to this day, I know everyone loves it. Everyone loves it. And this year it's been even more on fire because, of course, it's the World War II version. And, of course, Halo's out and Battlefield's out. So it's a big to-do. But Call of Duty sells like crazy. It's still the go-to. I have friends of mine. I know every one of you listening to the show, everyone on this panel has friends that literally go out and buy Call of Duty regardless of whether or not. I know one friend, he says, I don't even want to play it, but I got it just because I know you guys are always on it, so I'll get it so I have it. Like, it's one of those games. I got it. Yeah. Like, majority of people have it. I see a lot of people on Twitter that, like, 5 weeks ago, were like, screw COD, never again, won't happen, not in my house. And then three days later, they're like, I bit the bullet. It was $10 off. Why not? What the hell? Like, what is that?
I mean, a lot of people play a multitude of multiplayer games, right? Like, so it makes sense, I'm going to play some Halo. I'm going to play some Call of... I mean, I'm not a Battlefield guy, but some people are. They might play Battlefield and Halo, or Battlefield and Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? So, people end up getting it anyway. I admit, like, for me, it was probably a bad choice for them to go World War II. It just, you know what I mean? Seems like we're probably due up for, I guess, maybe a futuristic or modern warfare next year.
And it's funny you say that. Then they're going to start complaining again that, I want boots on the ground. Remember that? You guys remember everybody on this panel.
The problem why is because they did 3 years in a row of like jetpacks and crazy bullshit. Yes. So it was like, geez, man, I want to play Call of Duty, not like Space Duty or whatever.
Right.
The problem that you see Call of Duty is they're not ran like other studios. They're ran 3 years intervals. So by the time they start seeing, okay, this trend's gone. People don't want to see this old ass shit. They want to see boots on the ground. They want to see, they don't want the advanced stuff. They want current stuff. We got to make that in 3 years because these two are already far into development.
You have to predict trends is the thing. right? It's like, I mean, there's people that actually go out and do that. They like predict things. Well, where do you think the big thing's going to be in a few years or whatever? You know, I can remember for a little while there, it was like the 3-on-1 or the 4-on-1 game shooters. Remember that, Mooch?
Yeah.
Everything was, you know, what was it? Evolved and, you know, Fable Legends and everything was going to be that. And then, you know, it ended up just dying out pretty quick, you know? So.
No, I
You can
completely
never
agree.
it's hard to recapture that glory. Like Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 was a specific thing at a specific time that really hit, right?
Yeah.
Like Back 4 Blood, Mooch, I think you admit that ain't it. You know what I mean?
You know,
like
it's not it. It's not.
It's
it.
not.
And that's the main reason. You know, I'm kind of glad you went full circle there before we change subjects. And that's something like Addict. You know, I like that you're here because I want you to hear this and I want to get your take on it. But like the game, except for Major League Baseball that came out this year, I mean, Outriders didn't really push the needle. Back 4 Blood didn't push the needle. The thing that's going to push the needle for Xbox Game Pass, and I know this is, you guys know this, is the first party. The first party. And, you know, that's the thing. So when it comes down to it, that's why I don't think Sony necessarily has to answer right away, because the minute God of War 2 comes out, okay, like no one's even going to be talking about Spartacus. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter again. Everyone's just going to be out. I can't wait. I pre-ordered it. I got the God of War statue. I got the collector's edition. I can't believe it. I got a Kratos tattoo. Like everything in the world is going to go on, and everyone's going to forget about this again. It really comes down to first party. That's what they're competing against here. I don't think that Sony will go out and spend a lot of money necessarily on things like, you know, third-party deals. Addict said it himself. Tons of money goes into that. These Back 4 Blood deals and things like that, we can all sit here and you know, put our thinking caps on and go, oh, this is what we think. This is what we think. It costs a tremendous amount of money to do that. Will Sony do it? We'll see. I don't think so either. It's possible. It's possible, but I don't think so. And I think, you know, the Great Worry Wart had to leave. He said he could only stay an hour, so I don't know if I lost the Great Worry Wart yet. Yeah, there he is right there. I'm going to try and bring him back in. But I did want to kind of cross over to another subject here. The Xbox Series S is doing very well, right? So we heard on Black Friday sales that it was the #1 console sold. Now, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories behind this, you know, saying that there's no Series X's available, there's no PS5s available. So of course, you know, when parents need to get their kids a console, well, they just go to the next best thing, and that is the Series S. Worry, I know you have to leave soon, but I did want to ask you, because before you got a Series X, you got a Series S. Is there any logic to people wanting the Series S versus it's just the next runner up on the shelf that they can get for this holiday season?
I don't have a Series X yet, but I did get a Series S. Now,
right.
you know, whether or not there are PS5s or Xbox Series X's on shelves, it doesn't matter. They don't have to buy an S, and they are. It's not all parents buying them for kids. People are buying it. And even if they buy it as a secondary choice, they're buying it. And that ensures that Microsoft and Xbox has people in the ecosystem. That's all they want. That's the exact reason for creating that console, whether or not there are PlayStations on the shelf or Xbox Series X's on the shelf, whether or not they are on the shelf. They just want people to buy it at $299, and they have done that. And that bodes well. And I think it was a brilliant strategy looking back at it, having a $299 console. Whether or not you like it or you don't like it, it's got people in the ecosystem. They're going to buy games, and a lot of those people may upgrade.
Yeah, I have an X and an S, and I'll be honest with you. So I it's hard for me. It's weird, though, because as much as I do enjoy the S, it does what I want it to do. It does, folks.
It's not a bad console.
What'd you say?
It's not a bad console.
It's not a bad console. You know, graphically, it does. It's less superior. We know that. There's nobody that doesn't know that's listening to the show. But you know, in all other terms, it does.
If you're on 1080p TV, it looks great. I think.
Well, I mean, I have it on a 4K OLED, and it still looks good.
They're aiming that to people that play the Fortnites, play the Warzones. Like, I can almost guarantee you, when those game gets updates, when they get updates on engines, Microsoft's going to be on top of that. You got to make sure it runs great on the Series S, like, because I feel like that's where the majority of the people playing that console is going to come from, is those type of games. So, you know, I don't think they ever made the S for the hardcore market. I feel like they made the X for the hardcore market, and they made the S for an entry level that they could sell Game Pass with.
Yeah, and I mean, you know,
Phil said that they had planned on they figured they would sell more S's.
It would be their highest selling console.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, I don't
just
know
like
if that's
just
necessarily.
like the 1S.
Well, he
was
said
was
in a
better selling. Yeah.
he said in an interview that they were using the majority of the chips they could get their hands on to produce X's at first, because he knew that would be the console people would want the most. But it is looking like now that, you know, they're able to get that S out there quicker.
Well, it's funny. So you say that, but the thing is, and it's interesting because there's a couple of lines of thought to it. You know, we sat here, everyone, me included, we all have kind of short-term memory here. But we said this before the console's launch, and I think, and I don't want to put words in Forte's mouth, but Forte's in the business. He knows about this, and he said it. He said it a long time ago, and I'm sure he said it on other shows, but he said it here too. He said basically, if a parent walks in, this is where it kind of contradicts your thought, is if a parent walks in and says, I told my kid I was going to get them an Xbox. Hi, I'll take an Xbox Series X. We don't have those, and they're not coming in until after Christmas. Well, what do you got? I got a Series S. I'll take it. Because the kid has something to open. You know what I mean? So if you go back, you can't put an IOU under the tree. You know what I mean? So
unless you're,
but I just think you have to be careful that it's not just all kids. It's not just parents buying them for children.
Well,
there are a lot of people buying this system.
I mean,
even video games,
right?
Even BG said that for $300, that is right there where that's the bare maximum of an impulse buy. Like you walk into a Walmart,
absolutely.
you see, yo, there's that Xbox Series S, and you just sitting there looking at it like, okay, maybe.
Right.
Like $299 looks a lot better than $300, right?
Yeah, and then you know, you get that out, and you know, I don't have an S because I'll never own that because I had bad experiences with the Xbox One S playing games with people that had the Xbox One X. I will never own the lease ever again. So
that's respectful.
you know,
I respect
but
that. Actually,
I have friends that went out and got an S because they don't care about that extra shit. They just don't. Like they got 1080p TVs. They literally play Warzone every night when they come home. That's all they play, and they play Destiny. So.
Right. It's funny because, like I said, I think a lot of what we're saying here, the different stories, and I do agree with what BG said. That isn't. It's right on the cuff for this holiday season for an impulse buy. But I'm worried. My only contradiction to what you're saying is, I think what you're saying for the other 11 months, you're spot on. There's really no debating it. I do think that when you're talking about this particular 30 days, 35 days here after Thanksgiving, I think we are talking about majority is for under the tree. I mean, it just makes sense. Whether it's a child or it's an adult, it's a girlfriend buying it for a boyfriend, a wife buying it for a husband, vice versa. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying to you is I think that it's a gift scenario. And if somebody says, give me an Xbox, again, you have to take yourself out of the shoes we're all in. Somebody very clearly here would know that if Rory said, hey, Mooch, do me a favor. Here's my money. Go pick me up an X. And I go there and Forte says, sorry, I'm out of X's. I'm not buying you an S. I know you don't want that. But other people would just buy it for you because they go, an Xbox is an Xbox. You know what I mean?
I do think there are going to be scenarios like that with me, you know, mainly like parents buying their kids stuff that don't really, because here's the thing, like throughout the years and throughout the generations, gaming's become more mainstream. Like you have gamers raising kids now. So I don't think that's going to be the case to a whole lot. Now, I do think there's going to be those scenarios where the grandmother walks in. It was like, oh, that's all you... And they could literally have an X and an S sitting side by side. And Grandma Margaret, I'm going to throw out a random name there, is going to be like, oh, that's 300 and that's 5? Yeah, we're going with the 3. Like, so, and those are the people that's not going to care. But I do feel like teens, late teens, especially like girlfriends buying boyfriend stuff, wives buying husband stuff, like a lot of them are going to make sure that they get exactly what their husbands and boyfriends want. Like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of mistaking going on with that because for the most part, these wives and girlfriends hear this shit all year round. A lot of them know the difference between the stuff. And for the ones that don't know, that we got access to Google. Like in masses access to Google. I know people that won't go eat at a new restaurant unless they wait a couple weeks and get those reviews on Google.
Right. I know those people as well. You're not necessarily wrong. The great BRAP, I got to get BRAP back in here. He says he fell out of the...
Hey, Mooch, I just come across a tweet. I know it's neither here nor there.
No, go ahead.
Battlefield 2042, according to Tom Henderson, which is like the business thing, Battlefield sold 4.23 million in week 1.
I saw that.
We have 4.23 23 million. Holy crap!
That's a lot
Yeah,
of
but-
copies. That's a
That's
lot of
a lot
unhappy
for-
customers.
That is.
That's
A lot of people are
That's
going to
a
be
lot
buying
of-
that Santa Claus skin, right?
He
That's a
says
lot
he
of-
says he's asked about refunds, but he doesn't think he'll get an answer.
That's
I-
a lot of copies, but I mean, we saw selling a lot of copies is good for the overall, but sometimes that's not the everything. Like we saw Cyberpunk sell a lot, but the damage to the
That'll be a
brand
good
was
game
more.
someday.
The damage to the brand was worth more
I actually
than
liked
what
it.
they got in selling those copies.
I haven't played it yet, Worry, but I have it
Yeah.
on Xbox and PlayStation.
What's that?
Cyberpunk.
Well, Cyberpunk, I have
It's
it
a
for
really good,
PlayStation and
really good
PC.
story and characters.
Well, let me just say, so the
Yeah.
Great Gaming Forte, who couldn't make it tonight, but he is in the chat. He says, Mooch, people were looking for the Series X for the whole month of November. My store was sitting on over 40 S's going into Black Friday. Once they couldn't find the X, people gravitated to the S. Hashtag sold out. That was my
What you can
point.
get.
And you get what you can get. You know what I'm trying to
You
listen.
do, because listen, I just be honest, like you can see those in the store, and you don't see the Series X or the PS5 in stores. Like
And you want a
just
new
don't.
console, right? So
Yeah.
there it is.
I mean, it's like, what are you gonna? You gotta either get a Switch, or you can get an S. I mean, at least the S can play current gen titles, multiplats and stuff. so-
Absolutely. That's the one thing I got to say. If you are on the fence right now, the one thing I do love is I get to play all the newest games that are on Game Pass and Xbox puts out, or even third party. And if it has the 120 hertz or anything like that, I get to experience that. I get to enjoy all of the new frills of the next generation in my living room on my S. And I have in my office, I have
think
the
about
X, and I
this, though.
love
I
it.
mean, you get
I
a,
do.
you get
I
an
do kinda
S,
like
and
it.
you get an S, and literally 99% of the games that come out this generation, you're playing 60 frames. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't know. There's probably PC people here or whatever, but it's like you can't play 60 frames, 1080p for $300 for everything, right? Like that's incredible. That's really an incredible value. Not only that, but you can get 120 frames on over 100 games on that. So I mean, it's really
Yeah,
like
that,
the value.
that was my
for-
biggest point. It's
Yeah.
it's a happy accident that they wound up in a position where they've got
It-
a $299 console with a
And
chip shortage. It's the easier console to produce, and they've got it on shelves.
Yeah. I mean,
And
now
it's
you
like I
can play.
said-
You could play the what is it? The Mass Effect trilogy that came out. 120
Yeah.
hertz on that. That's crazy.
You know, shout out to
You know?
SlaynChilean. He says FOMO, and that's what it is.
Mhm.
It really is.
FOMO's real. Yeah.
FOMO's real, Brad.
It is a real thing, man. It is a real thing. I can remember I was doing a podcast with Mooch and Jay Barry, and then it came out that PlayStation 5s were being up for pre-order early at GameStop.
Yep.
It ended the podcast. Everybody was like, oh, "Gotta go." You know what I mean? Like you don't literally.
true,
That's
yeah.
what happened. Gotta
Yeah.
go, and then everybody left. You know, and then got pre-ordered the PS5.
That's
This is
true.
what happened.
Shout out to the
It's
Wise
like
Old Gamer. Remember, for 16 months, Wise Old Gamer, you got a room in the house, buddy. You're already family. He says, at Gaming Addict, stop hiding. He says, you bought a Series S because your TCL started smoking when you connected it to a Series X. Admit it, Addict. Admit
No,
it.
I bought a Series S because it came out before the Xbox One X, and I was stubborn, Wise Gamer. I was stubborn. But then guess what happened? I played Gears with Kn1ght, and Kn1ght was loading into the game so quick. I was still in the loading, and the game was going, and he had to keep me alive
Addict.
until I loaded it.
Addict,
Well,
that happened with me and
funny
Crap.
story,
Yeah.
me and Mooch and Worry were playing Gears Hive Busters, and me and Mooch are on Series X's, and Worry's on a 1X, and like stuff was loading in that
The
he
world's
couldn't
most
see.
powerful console,
Oh
the
no!
Xbox
Like,
One X.
I know exactly. There was a time that
Yeah,
happened
he
where
couldn't see it,
Kid
man.
was going in cover on like an iceberg, and it wasn't there on my screen.
Yeah,
Remember
I was
that?
like,
Well, we
never
said that.
again.
Worry goes,
Never again.
Worry goes, I'm getting
Worry,
shot, I'm
are-
getting shot. And we were like, well, hide behind that massive tree log that's in front of you. He goes, there's nothing
What
in front
tree?
of me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, he
Yeah.
goes, oh, there it
Oh,
is.
we were like, aren't you playing on the world's most powerful console? And he was like, I'm
Yeah.
playing on the world's most powerful console before the world's most
Most
powerful
powerful
console.
console
So-
came out. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were like,
It's
oh,
just-
okay. Yeah, but I understand what you're saying because me and Mooch also were playing on Xbox One X's.
Yes.
And my buddy Grave was on a launch Xbox One, and we were playing PUBG. And so you land and you try to run into a house. None of the stuff was loaded in the house. He's like, I don't see
He
anything.
could
We're like,
pick up
"What's
a
this stuff?"
weapon. He could
I
pick
think
up
in
anything.
terms, I think when it comes to the Xbox Series S, that it's like I said, that is literally the definition of the casual box. IOP likes to say the little man because it punches above its weight. Like, look, it was designed to sell Game Pass
Yes.
And if you want to play Fortnite and you tired of those 30 Fortnite 60 frames on last platform, but you tired of that performance on the previous gen, we got a $300 console that you can play next gen games on, and you can play all the free to play games that you enjoy and love at a higher performance and stop loading in mad long. And I think that's literally as far as that goes. But the funny thing is that's the vast majority of the market. So
yeah, no, you're right. You're right, Act, and it's a true statement. I got a couple of super chats that I fell behind on, and I apologize, guys. Magnum Visuals comes out and he says, "Do not let your wives buy your console." So Magnum Visuals giving a warning. I don't know if you guys
pre-ordered my PS5 for me.
So Craps approved though. He says the missus is fine making his purchases. That's fine. And then shout out to Face23. Thank you so much for the super chat, guys. The super chat's working. It's a miracle. He says, question: why does Rockstar put out their new games on console first, then PC a year later?
Because they want to get that money, and they don't want things to get pirated. That's basically what it comes down to. You focus on something one at a time, basically. One thing at a time. You do consoles first, and then you do the PC stuff later, and that way you can you give PC players a better experience for them when it comes out, and you have console players have a experience that's tailored for them when it comes out. So it makes a lot of. It's the same reason why a lot of PlayStation fans, myself included, don't want day and date PC games is because one of the advantages that PlayStation had in terms of graphics and stuff like that is their games, their exclusives, were looking better on a base PlayStation 4 than stuff on a 6 teraflop Xbox One X, because most of that stuff had it has to be on a potato PC and everything else as well. So that's basically the answer to that.
Yeah.
But Rockstar, they're losing some of their luster too. Isn't it weird how a couple years ago Rockstar and CD Projekt Red were looked at as the top one?
Oh, you couldn't touch them
in the world.
Yeah, you couldn't touch them.
You couldn't, and now it's people are well, Insomniac, Naughty Dog. You know what I mean? It's it's crazy to think how far these companies fall or whatever. It's just I think the pandemic really kind of screwed over CD Projekt Red, to be honest with you, but. It is what it is. They shouldn't, they should have dropped the old gen, last gen versions of those games to begin with,
and delayed it another 6 months. They would have been fine. Yep. I mean, it's funny because these delays, people say it all the time: a delayed game's better than a broken game. The thing about it is that's fine for us gamers to say. Again, we were talking about this earlier. The investors don't want to hear that, but again, at the end of the day, the investors are also not happy with where the current stance is for that particular company right now. So it's give and take there. I don't understand why they wouldn't have delayed. They knew the game was in the shape that it was in. Wish more people told people about the shape that it was in. That would have been.
I seen something my brother Hellhammer, who's a big CD Projekt Red fan, was showing me some of the glitches that he ran into. Shit would just blow up. He could his car would fly and spin in circles. It was crazy. Some of the stuff that was happening, man. It was just I mean, listen, that stuff can be kind of charming to some. I'll be honest with you, one of my favorite games is Mafia 3. Right? But there was a time in that game, I'm playing the game, I go up to get in my car, the damn car wouldn't start. How does that even happen? You hear it go, and it wouldn't start. It's not part of the game. I'm in the game.
The day-night cycle was terrible too. Yeah. In that initially.
Yeah, it's it used to look weird or something. Yeah, so
it was it was always 7 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? It was always that time, regardless.
Yeah, and then one time, the same thing happened to my brother. He showed me that where he gets out of his car and then he turns around and his car catches on fire and blows up or something. I was I don't know. There was a lot of weird glitches in that game, but it was still a good game, right? It's one of my favorite games, but it had a lot of problems.
That's really funny, crap. Shout out to the wise old gamer, guys. He says, my wife bought my console. If I would buy her console, he goes, the joke's on her. I think my console's vibration haptic feedback is better. So, thank you so much for that, wise old gamer. It's funny too. I do want to kind of switch over to something real quick here. And we were kind of talking about it earlier, and I want to get into the whole cross-play that's going on between PC and console. And I'm noticing there's a different tune, right? Crap, you've always said this since day one.
Listen, this is what I said, right? I said one of my main concerns originally with Xbox doing everything day and date on PC and doing crossplay, I said, well, what's going to happen is you're going to lose people who maybe were before on console. So that's going to make the player pool that much smaller. And then you're going to have where you force crossplay. It's going to put console gamers at a disadvantage because there's a lot of cheating in PC space, and and then when Halo announced that it was going to do crossplay and you can't disable it, and they were just going to do it by input or whatever, I remember saying, well, how are they going to do this? And they go, well, we're going to keep an eye server side and see if anybody's leveling up weirdly, and then we'll ban them. Like, that's a really kind of a bad way to go about that, in my opinion. It's like, for me personally anyway, I don't understand. First of all, I never understood the fun in cheating at a game. It really just ruins the experience for everybody.
Mhm.
They don't want to play the game crap. They want control. That's what they care. They want to troll. That's what it is.
Yeah, but it's just like I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, Halo is such a fun game. Let people, play disabled if they want to. But I get the whole thing where everybody's like, well, maybe my friend's on PC or whatever. Well, then you guys can play together. But give everybody else, I think, the chance to opt out of that if they want to, to play a fair game. I think that would be better. It's like you're already seeing like the aim bots and the wall hacks and this. And, it's really a shame because I was playing Sea of Thieves a ton when it came out. So was Mooch. And we come up against PC cheaters and you couldn't disable it, right? And you come up against them and they're stealing up. What's that?
When are we gonna play Sea of Thieves again? Remember that game of Sea of Thieves we played when was it the Pirates of the Caribbean deal? That was so much fun.
Yeah, Brap, I'm having my audio problems, but I think you have to fix your headset. You're botting real bad.
Yeah, his is like staticky. Yeah, but like so we didn't really go back. We've gone back maybe twice, like years later, but it really takes you out of it, right? Like, I'm a big Call of Duty fan, but I can remember once, and this was on console even, once people started running hacked lobbies, I stopped playing those games. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not fun. And now it's like I don't understand why they wouldn't give people the option to at least disable that. I mean, we're paying. If you're on a console, you're paying to play online.
Right.
Right. So basically, you're paying to play against people that can just cheat, and I just feel like that's a really kind of an unfortunate thing for everybody. Just like
no crap. I agree with you, Nick. I want to kind of get your take on this, Nick. You're not usually too vocal on this point. I mean, I'm not even aware, Nick, if you have do you have a gaming PC? I'm sure you do.
Oh yes, yes sir. I have a 3060 Ti that.
My apologies in advance. I'm sorry about that. I do want to say this much though. What's your take on the whole crossplay? And you are seeing a lot of people where before we're kind of quiet about it. People are sounding off now.
Well, see, the biggest problem right now is that PC gaming has a cheating problem. I did an editorial on this, and it's destroying games as an overarching market, because the thing is a lot of competitive spaces in Twitch and things like that, you know, a lot of streamers and everything else, that play these games play on PC. So, the PC market's a big driving force for games like Apex Legends, of course, Call of Duty Warzone and whatnot. But the cheating in these games is out of control, like absolutely out of control. We saw all the clips that came out of Battlefield cheating recently. We've seen all the clips of people cheating. Like Warzone cheating is through the roof on PC, and Activision just keeps promising and promising, we'll get there, we'll get the new cheat system in, and this will be better. But the problem is every cheat system comes out, and then they find a workaround 3 months later, and then we're back to square one again.
That's like when people tell me that pirating, like, I don't know a whole bunch about this stuff. Like, oh, well, people don't really pirate games anymore. And you could just, like, Google search a game for a torrent, and, like, a billion of them pop up. And, like, you're telling me nobody's pirating these games? Get out of here, man.
There's still a ton of pirating. There's a ton of cheating. And the thing is like, cheating in video games can be such a widespread of different options at your disposal that it's hard to pinpoint. And, like, there's workarounds, like, something that's been great with some games is they do input limiting. Well, you can buy a like $70 adapter, like I think it's called the Kronos or wherever. You basically plug into your USB port and you can use any peripheral you want on your console using that adapter. So people will use mouse and keyboard and still be playing on Xbox or PlayStation or wherever the case may be. And so it's a workaround. Is it hacking? No. Is it taking advantage of workarounds? Absolutely. And see, I was a big proprietor of crossplay because I play a metric ton of PvE with people across a variety of platforms. Now, when I said I wanted crossplay, I wasn't necessarily talking about just exclusively with PC. I wanted to be able to play with my PlayStation friends. Like, I wanted to be able to fire up a COD lobby and hop in with, I've got friends that play on PlayStation, I have friends that play on Xbox.
What originally Gears of War, what they were like, we're only going to allow crossplay for PvE, like the campaign or Horde or whatever. I'm like, hey, that's cool. You know what I mean? And then they're like, nope, now you don't have any options to disable it. You just have to play with PC people, and that's the end of it.
Okay, so let me ask the panel a question here. What do you guys think here for a second? This was brought up. Shout out to Saltiest Gaming podcast. I was on it last night. He brought this up, and I thought it was a great question. Which company right now needs crossplay? We came to the conclusion yesterday that Microsoft needs it more than
I would say
Sony.
Microsoft needs it because they're pushing their ecosystem,
right?
Which could be like much more than Sony. Sony's still pretty much like buy our stuff and play our stuff, where Microsoft is like, we don't care if you play on a smart fridge or a watch or whatever.
Right.
You can play with your friends anywhere, any game, anytime. Whatever. That's their tagline.
To the point too is I think what PlayStation's strategy is going to be on crossplay. It's not really a big deal right now because, as we know, they're kind of focused on the single-player market. What I'm interested in is, what does their future look like? Because we know they're working on a bunch of multiplayer games. Are these going to be day one on PlayStation 5 and PC? If so, is crossplay going to be mandatory? I think, though, that's an interesting question looking forward. Xbox needs crossplay right now. I think for a lot of games they'd be fine. Like, there is no reason Battlefield 2042 and Halo Infinite I shouldn't be able to turn off crossplay and have any issues finding a game. Period. End of story.
I think
The weird thing is, even with Warzone, which is usually the top played game on Xbox, they don't let you disable crossplay on Xbox, only on PlayStation. It's the weirdest damn thing.
Yeah, if you want to disable crossplay on Xbox, you have to go through your actual console settings to disable crossplay.
Yes.
And then if you do that, I did that as an experiment with Battlefield 2042 because playing against mouse and keyboard in Battlefield is an absolute nightmare if you're stuck on a controller. So I went in to disable crossplay, and then I couldn't get full lobbies. And that is because it only would match me against people that turned crossplay off. And how many people are going in? And how many people are going in and turning off crossplay on a base level on their console?
Thanks for bringing that up, Nick. That's one of the things. And they were asking me last night on Saltiest Show. I'll say it again tonight. I leave crossplay. As you guys can see, the majority of my gameplay every week, I show you guys Call of Duty, Halo, and Warzone, right? So Call of Duty, of course, Vanguard in this case. And I leave crossplay on. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. Now, I will say this much. So the difference between yesterday and today, Mooch, okay, is as I said last night, I didn't have any, or I never noticed an actual hacker or a cheater. Today, I just started one of these matches. I was playing in Vanguard, and I was on the map Decoy, and I'm running, and I'm at the point where there's no enemy. There's legitimately no enemy near me. We just started the match. I'm running, and as I run, I just dead. And I'm like, what? Like, there's nobody around. Yeah. So I watched the replay.
Did you get shot through the wall?
I got shot through the wall. So I'm watching the replay.
Wow.
There's a guy behind, legitimately, a wall. There's no way. You can't see anything.
Yeah.
You can't see. All you see is our names in red, and he's just spraying people down. And I'm like, son of a bitch. That's crazy because last night I was like, I knew it probably was happening, but I'd never seen it. And then I saw it today. I legitimately saw it with my own eyes today. Very, very odd, very weird. And it sucks. It does suck because like we were saying it last night on Salty Show, when it's a game like this right now in Vanguard and you're just playing a team deathmatch or you're just playing a domination, you know what? The game resets in 2 minutes or you start, whatever, you get a different lobby, you move on. When you're playing a game like Warzone and you do get into that inner circle, it could take upwards of 35 minutes of your time. And I know 35 minutes when you're listening to this show might not mean anything to you guys, but it seriously means a lot. It means a lot when you're playing a game, especially when you have a dedicated team and you're really trying to get that W and you get to the end there and you die from something like that. That's just, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And, when you hear things like Nick was saying, Nick, you did an article and a piece on it, but like when you hear like 343, and I'm not blaming 343, by the way, because they're just, they were one of the first people to actually say, they're like, we knew when we were going to go free to play that these were going to be the issues that we were going to run into. you know, if you know you're going to go into free to play, you have to have the most superior anti-cheat. Listen, there's people out there right now that can do anything they want online. But these banks and credit card companies and stuff, they went and got the better people for the most part to do the best that they can so that these types of bad things don't happen online more often than they already do. And it just seems like the hacking and the cheating is happening at such an exponential rate that it almost feels like Microsoft and EA, and no matter who you're talking about, doesn't matter who it is, Activision or you know, with Call of Duty, they're all having a problem keeping up with the Joneses here, and that's a problem. So, I mean, if you guys have anything to chime in.
The biggest reason this is because there's a root core solution to this, but they don't want to do it. The thing is with free to play games, I know because I won't call him a friend. I'll call him someone I work with. And what he does is he runs Warzone lobbies and he just runs a bot just to ruin people's days. Basically, he'll just run that on. He'll like grab a bag of chips and just run bots basically to just ruin people's games.
What the hell?
He gets a kick out of it. He's weird as hell. But the point of this is he told me what happens is he plays for about 3 days. He gets reported enough. They ban his account. He creates a new Gmail account, creates a new Activision ID, logs into Warzone, away he goes again. How do you prevent this? You IP ban players. This used to be a thing
IP
way
ban.
back in the day.
Yeah, the problem with
back
that,
in the
Nick,
day, like you go back to I'm gonna throw it way back. RuneScape used to IP ban you if you did workarounds on their game.
the thing
And
that would get like the casual person that's doing it, but there's a way around IP
oh,
bans.
there is absolutely a way around
the-
IP bans, but the problem is there's way too many casual people that do it for a chuckle.
I agree.
That would filter out. And if you have a dire consequence to doing a hack or cheating or anything else, it will scare away 90% of the people that just want to do it for a chuckle.
I think what they should start doing is they should do what GTA does. Like they should just put them with other cheaters. Like they can only match up with other cheaters.
That's
Man, I saw it
because they don't even know that they've been hit.
Yeah.
They're just in bad lobbies and they don't even know.
There was a clip my friend sent me over on YouTube, and it was 2 people hacking in Warzone simultaneously, and they were both running God mode hacks and aimbots, and they were endlessly shooting each other because they were the last 2 alive, but they couldn't end the match because both of them were hacking. Like, how? Like,
I'm sorry to laugh, but that's amazing.
People want to blame free to play games for this. I'm be real with you, man. It's that PC market. Like I'm not gonna say consoles don't do it, but it's just like
you're right, Addict.
When I played the Destiny thing, it was such a bad experience on PvP because of the cheating. And it's just like, I know that there are console people do it, but I don't feel like I deal with it as much on console. Like when I played on PC,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
People would cheat in Fall Guys. So if they're willing to cheat in Fall Guys,
they're gonna cheat.
It doesn't matter at that point.
I just want to say something real quick. Okay, so a main reason why a lot of people won't cheat on console is they could basically brick your console. You know what I'm saying? They could, if you own a bunch of games, they can block your account, which means all your games will be useless. And, people pay to play games online on console. And so that's a waste of money. Like, people usually won't mess if they got to pay for something, right? It's like, if you could just create endless free accounts. Look, back in the day on PS3, you could create as many free accounts as you wanted. Like, we didn't cheat, but we used to create, like, accounts just to go team kill people or to, you know what I'm saying? Like, just to goof around like that. And they were always, like, separate from our main accounts. And also, I had accounts that we would learn the maps on Call of Duty with those. And then that way we wouldn't have crappy KD ratio on our main accounts. So after we learned all the little ins and outs, then we could hop on our main accounts and go and do that, right? But if you could ever be in danger of getting your main account blocked or whatever or banned, like, people don't want to mess with that. You're also paying $60 a year to play online. There's a big difference there, where PC dudes will just be like, let me go create another account. Boop 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 boop.
Yep.
And I think the way that you fix that is there are stuff that certain people do to minimize the cheating. I know Blizzard's really hard on that, and for the most part, you don't really see cheating on their platform like you do like Steam. It's there, but it's not like as dominant as on Steam. Steam's like the Wild Wild West, man.
It really is.
Like it's like I call them the PC
doors,
terrorists.
they just
man.
wave back and forth. Everything comes in and out.
I call them the PC terrorists. So I got that from Jackmove, but it's just like there's certain PC people that they just want to ruin people's days. They don't care about the game.
Well,
and that's cool.
They're like Nick's coworker. I will not refer to him as friend.
Yeah, so I feel like until there is a guarantee solution to at least make the cheating as minimum as possible. I'm not going to say we're never going to get away with cheating in general. You're always going to have some form of cheating, but until there's a point where you can control it, they do need to be crossplay on consoles and PC, but it can only be PvE. It cannot be PvP. Like I don't even want them to give them the option, because I feel like the moment you give the option that you let them do it in general, you see scenarios like Sea Thieves and Halo Infinite. They're like, you're gonna play with them regardless. It's like they're trying to be our parents. You're gonna like it, and you're gonna enjoy each other's company. You're gonna like it.
That's what
I'm just
right.
I'm just like, look, like until that is fixed, I don't want to play with some of these PC people, man. And it's not all of them, and I'm sure it's just a small portion of them. But the problem is that small portion makes it so difficult. And then you know what you get? You get games where you're questioning every death.
Yes.
I don't know, man.
Yes.
That was a pretty suspect headshot. Like,
Addict, you nailed it. That's the problem that I'm having now. A lot of people that I play Warzone with, that's the problem. The minute they die, they immediately are like, that's a hacker. I'm like, stop it. Just stop it. I'm like, it's not like every single time we're in a lobby that you die, it's a hacker or it's a cheat. I'm like, maybe you just died. Get better.
Yeah.
So I do want to read these in reverse order. Shout out to Z's Pet Pig Wilbur. I don't know who that's fantastic. What a great name. He says, I say we break all PC and buy more PlayStation 5s. Z, if you can find those out there, a lot of people that are some fine listeners right now would like to know where those PlayStation 5s are.
But you know what's funny, Mooch? For as long as I can remember, people always were like accusing other people of, I can remember back in the PS2, Xbox era, lag switching. That was like a thing that you accused
that was a
people
big thing.
And it was like people used to jiggle their cord, right?
Yeah,
like,
they used to unplug their router.
Yep, used to piss me off. And then also use modded controllers. I remember that used to be a big thing on the Xbox 360 playing Call of Duty. People using the one-shot guns that are super powerful, but they come out like automatic because they're using those damn modded controllers. And then I remember one time I got into a lobby and I was like, "Man, are you using a modded controller?" He's like, "No, I got paintball fingers." I was like, "What the hell are paintball fingers?" Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, "No, I just got paintball fingers."
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
I was like,
I remember playing Black Ops 2 and people having like the 5.7 semi-auto pistol, and then you get like a full 20-round mag off in 2 seconds. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah, your fingers are doing that for sure. Yeah.
It's just like at the end of the day, man, like when it comes to the cheating, it's not going to go anywhere.
It's not.
It's just like we got to be very vocal with people like 343. It's like, we don't want to play with them. Let us play with the multi-plat games. Let us play with PlayStation. Let us play with nothing but Xbox people for like games like Halo Infinite.
Yep.
It's like until you get this PC stuff handled, don't even give me the option to play with them, because I get it. They're trying to keep the health, and that's fine. But it's just like, you're going to have to be aggressive. You're going to have to make it to where they can't run. Because one of the biggest things that, Blizzard does is they make sure you can't have outside programs running. Like they constantly check to make sure stuff's not being ran in the background. And if it is, they won't let you queue into a game. But the thing is like the PC community, they're so spoiled with certain features that the moment you take stuff like that away, they complain. But it's like, look, like if you want to be in these streets and you want to participate in these reindeer games, you're going to have to let me shut this shit down.
Listen,
like
you nailed it with what you said. And I know that I'm really dating myself here, guys. But if you go back to remember the early days of Wi-Fi, people were like, well, be careful. Never make a transaction on Wi-Fi. Remember that stuff? Remember back in the day?
Yeah,
like,
they're going to steal your credit card info.
You know this world better than anybody that I know, right? People were really, really conscious of that, right? So now, what did they do? Exactly what Addict said. These companies went out, the banking, the credit card companies, they went and spent the number is just, it's scary. It's scary. There's a lot of commas. Like, I got to be honest with you, they spent a lot of money on this. They made sure that you could make any type of purchase with feeling safe, that you weren't going to get hacked, robbed, your account stolen, your credit card information taken, etc. Whatever it was. The point of the matter is here, what Attic's saying that I really, really want to kind of back up here is Microsoft, Activision, you guys all get your stuff in order. Get your stuff in order. Put a lot of money into this, because if the future of gaming really is all of us playing together, then you have to put something in place that makes people feel like they're putting their... Now it's not about just money. It's not just the money. The money, of course, is obvious. But you guys know this more than anything, right? Especially guys that you got on the panel right now. Money's time, okay? Time is money. That's the whole thing. So when you're investing 45 minutes into a round and then you die because somebody shot you through a wall from 7 miles away, what is that? Like, what is
People
that?
aren't going to stick around.
Exactly. It's a
Mooch.
faulty
It's like-
product at that point, crap.
Yeah, it's really a thing. Okay, like look at PUBG. Like I mean, I really went through a PUBG phase back in the day, but that has crossplay, but only between consoles. And the creators are like, there's no way in the world we would subject console owners to PC players on that game.
Why can't we have Xbox and PlayStation crossplay? Why is that not a thing?
Well,
I mean,
there
that
is.
a thing.
Well, it's not a thing. It's not a thing enough.
Oh, you're talking about just them
Yeah.
two, like
Just
and
them
I
two.
get that. Like I do feel like the industry needs to come together, and neither everyone comes together and addresses cheating on PC because everyone sells their games on PC,
Right.
or they need to realize there's a problem on PC and stop trying to act like there's not,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and just start like, look, like when we do games, if it's a cross-platform game, it's going on just Xbox and PC in terms of crossplay. And then when the PC gets their stuff together, which it's not everyone. Like, definitely want to bring that. It's not everyone, but it's enough people to ruin console experiences.
I mean, some of
and
these
it's just
games have banned over 1 million people. That's a lot of bans.
And
You
what's
know?
crazy is they're probably just banning like 8 people over and over again. Like it's just.
It's people
it's
making
just so
new accounts, like Nick's
frustrating.
saying. Yes, that's exactly it.
In fact,
Yeah,
some of
it's
the
good.
streamers or something got hit with bans, and they were like, "Why'd they get banned?"
And I get so
Yeah.
annoyed with Microsoft particularly because they just had this issue with Sea of Thieves. So it's like, you have proof that this can't be fixed that well. But instead of, okay, let's make sure Halo doesn't have cheating in the lobbies, let's go ahead and disable crossplay between PC and Xbox. Let them play what they own. Let's let the PC people play with the cheaters, with the more cheaters, and let's let the Xbox play with some of the cheaters. Let's fix the PC stuff, then do it later. They're like, nah, let's just let them all play. It's going to be Wild Wild West.
So Mooch, the other thing,
Sony could screw up too. Excuse me, BRAP, 1 second. Like if they release factions and they do that crossplay, and
Yes.
you know what I mean, because I have a feeling they're going to release that at the same time on PC.
On PC, yeah.
Yeah, like if they do that, I feel like that's really going to be a slap in the face to their console crowd. If they can't disable the crossplay, I mean, I couldn't imagine. Like, and here's the thing: factions is legitimately a good multiplayer that you wouldn't expect to be good. I can remember not thinking much of it. Like, I thinking it was gonna suck because I played that Tomb Raider reboot had multiplayer and it sucked really bad, right? So I was like, oh, this is just tacked on nonsense, and it ended up being really thought out and well done. And so that's why I'm excited about the new faction stuff. But nothing will get me away from that stuff faster than crossplay with some PC. Ugh.
Yeah. No, go ahead,
yeah,
Brad.
there is more cheating on the console, and it's than more people realize, and it's actually becoming a little bit easier. I'm not going to name the device because I don't want people going out there and buying it on what BRAP said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there is a device out there that costs about $100, and it basically mods your. It's a pretty sophisticated looking device. Has kind of like an LED screen on it. Then you plug your controller to it, and it basically is. It's basically a mod. It mods your controller to give it like pinpoint accuracy, and I think there's some hacks that you can download to use for certain games, and it's something I think I heard that it may make its way to the Fortnite scene, but it's definitely out there. You could actually buy this device at like many retail stores, believe it or not. So
See, the thing though, when it comes to to console, is like when Microsoft and Sony catch wind of these type of devices, they can do stuff on their end to prevent them because they're a closed platform. But when it comes to like PC, they can't do stuff like that because a lot of these places let you run third-party programs going off and it's not really their fault because stuff like the to record gameplay and stuff. Like it's a lot harder to do stuff on PC.
I think Apex Legends actually probably addressed that issue you're talking about. I think you have to upload like I forget what it is. It's not like spyware, but maybe it is spyware on Apex Legends to like run like a scan on your computer to see if you got any funny shit going on there. And you have to have that like scan done or something. Slow-mo was telling me about this. I wasn't aware of this, but I forget what it's called. But it's almost like I guess it's kind of like spyware. But basically, like in Apex Legends on PC, you got to run this so they make sure there's no funny shit going on in your computer before you get in the game.
And another thing, the PC community start taking responsibility for their own community when it comes to stuff like that. Like, don't be playing with your friends that they cheating. Like, you only letting your friends ruin your own community. Like, you really are. Like, especially be it like, because I've known some people but play Destiny with some cheaters. They get hit too. They get that ban hammer just as easy as they do.
Yep.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And to Addict's point too is like one of the things that's harder with console cheating than it used to be. This is something Mike Ybarra talked about years ago. I think it was like 2016. Is that Xbox can your device itself and your account holds what you plug into your device. If you plug a USB device into your console, they know what's been in your console. That's data logged on your console and your account. So if you go out and buy a third-party device, they'll know if you're running a third-party device through your console, and they can essentially brick your account and brick your console. In PC, it's just creating a new email and away you go. It's the challenge of that. And Attic made a point earlier about, you don't see that so much with Blizzard games and everything else. And that's because Blizzard IP bans and has IP banned accounts since 2013. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's workarounds of IP bans and everything else, but you got to be really dedicated to the craft to start doing IP workarounds in order to,
VPNs
keep hacking
and all that
on
stuff.
a game. Yeah. So you can, anything is, what people need to realize is anything is possible. There's always going to be cheaters, but it should not be as nearly as accessible as it is right now. There's a Twitter account I saw pop up in my feed that was bragging about selling Destiny and Halo hacks. Bungie's actually in the process of suing them.
I was actually about to say that, Bungie, they took a stand because they got so sick and tired of because it was hurting Destiny on PC. It was destroying the PvP community. Mm-hmm. So they're like, look, we can't go after the people using them, but we're going to go after the people selling them. And I think that needs to be a standard thing. Like, they need a Nintendo, these cheaters. They need to be they need to make a statement. If you are selling cheats, I don't care where you at. We suing you. We getting you up out of there.
Yeah.
And when these companies start losing millions of dollars in lawsuits, you're going to see less and less of these websites pop up. Because, let's be all real here. Nintendo, when they even smell people doing funky shit with their stuff, they all up on them. Like, we need that.
Think about doing something, Nintendo. They hit you with a cease and desist. Hey, I was wondering if I could do something.
They don't mess around.
Cease and desist.
No.
Yeah.
No, Nintendo sued somebody for $25 million recently.
And that's what I'm saying. Imagine if
Bowser.
Imagine if that was the energy for all of these companies, EA, Microsoft, Ubisoft. If you cheat on our games, we're going to go after the people who sold you that shit. And then after a certain amount of time, it wouldn't prevent it entirely. But these companies will be like, I don't know if it's worth making a little bit of bread when I have to give them a lot of money.
So here's what's funny, Attic. This device that I was talking about, you could buy it at GameStop.
Oh my God!
See, right there, they need to be talking again. Forte, talk to your people.
Hit the red button.
Apparently, this device is not easy to detect. I know Nick was saying they can detect devices, but apparently, and I'm actually reading more about this device. It's been a problem in Fortnite, and it's been a problem in Call of Duty, and it's very hard to detect. And it retails at GameStop. I was shocked to see it at GameStop.
Yeah, it wasn't that the device that they caught the device the kid that was doing that Warzone, like the esports Warzone tournament, they caught him running it on his device or something. I distinctly remember there was something with a Warzone tournament. Someone was running hacks at a official officiated event. I think it was that device or something. I can't remember, but there's
wild. A new version of that device. There's an older device, and now they just created a new one that has an LED screen. They can program different hacks at different games. You can actually pull them up, scroll down, and select the game you're playing to upload that mod or whatever it is you're
Oh
using.
God.
And the problem is, man, like these toxic people, they gonna do what they do. There ain't nothing you can do about it. You can't stop them. You know, you can't stop anyone from doing what they want to do. But people like GameStop, like they should know better. Like, because if you're willingly, I can understand if you drop
Or
something.
it's been sold out for months.
But he said they
Okay,
do
you
sell
drop
it though. It
something-
is for sale there. So
you
Forte
drop
agrees.
something and you realize, oh, people are using this to cheat. So then GameStop should proactively be like, we can't sell that. Let's get that off of our website. We can't be related to something like that. But the fact that GameStop knows that it's being used for that and they're just proactively selling it is just crazy to me.
Yeah, that is kind of wild. I do want to read. Shout out to Punkidish, by the way. Punk, thank you so much for being a Mooch Maniac family member for 6 months. He says, loving this cheating talk, fire, straight fire. Newtanian, if I'm saying it right, he says, used to play Warzone up until Activision mess and burnout. He says, he goes, high KD lobbies are full of hackers due to SBM working as intended. I do notice that when I play, there's a few people that I game with on Warzone that are, man, I'll tell you them. It's just, I've been very lucky to be able to hang out, and they've made me much better than I ever was. Almost like semi-pro. These guys are really, really great players. They have a lot of fun with it. They basically play Warzone exclusively. But when we're in lobbies with them, I do notice that they mention it more often. Again, are they just saying it because they need to get better? I don't know. I know they're very good. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, they're like, I think we got a hacker in here, blah, blah. And I'll tell you, one time we were playing and the individual said to me, he goes, Mooch, we definitely have a hacker in here. I go, why is that? He goes, we're only into the second circle closing, and he goes, there's only like 35 people left out of 150. He's like, that's not normal. Like that, there's something going on right now. So there's like mass killing going on, in the game, or people are just dropping out, whatever it is. So there's been a number of times where that happens. So I hear you there, Newtanian. Shout out to the great Sir X-Man, who's got a few of them here. I'll read them all. He says, Halo, let's use a mouse and keyboard on Xbox consoles. Sir X-Man also says, me and I believe he means BRAP. He wrote Brat, which is not too. That's pretty funny there, BRAP. Play together on Halo, and I was on PC. And the great Sir X-Man is back again. He says, I play my Xbox games. Pardon me, on the PC, on Xbox app PC. You can't cheat, but the Steam players can open the source up and manipulate it. Can't do that through Game Pass app. So that's something that I'm unaware of, Sir X-Man. But I'll definitely take your word for it. New Soul 9 says, if you want to make sure, and we're going back to the girlfriend, wife buying consoles. I apologize, guys, I fell behind. He says, if you want to make sure your girlfriend or wife get you the right console, tell her the relationship is at stake. It works every time. There's New Soul 9 with a little free advice for everybody. Hope you guys wrote that down. And the great Andy Hart.
If you don't buy the right one, we done.
It's over with.
I can't be with someone that don't know the right console.
I would hate to walk down the stairs that Christmas and there's nothing under the tree and you just got a Dear John letter.
If I ain't never heard of a red flag, is that one right there?
It's definitely a red flag.
I got an extra PlayStation 5 for the holidays if anyone wants one.
Oh,
Get up, BRAP. Let me know.
Going twice.
Let me know.
Nobody yet? Okay, well, we'll wait. We got another week.
What's your markup?
Hey, go ahead, BRAP. Take it away.
It's enough. It's enough. It's hey, crap. It's market rate, man. I'd leave it at that.
Is it digital or the physical?
No, it's physical. Comes with 3 games a year, PlayStation Plus.
The great BRAP. The great BRAP. Outstanding.
Extended warranty.
BRAP, if you ever go to MSRP, give Mooch a call. Nonetheless.
I will, Mooch. I will let you know if this thing goes to MSRP, I'm going to just keep it at that point.
Why wouldn't you? Boy, I don't blame you one bit. Andy Hart comes here and he says, so the narrative is that the Series S sold, and again, apologize, guys. I went in reverse order because we had so many super chats right there about the topic at hand. But the great Andy Hart, he says, so the narrative is the Series S sold well Black Friday because it's cheap and was available. People should also know it's a powerful machine. Andy, we really got into that. We definitely, I agree. I have an S. Crap has an S. Addict does not. Nick, I don't believe you do. I know BRAP does not. But I got to be honest with you. I think that the S, for me, I primarily, game on my Xbox Series X on my OLED CX. In my living room, I wanted to still be in the Xbox ecosystem. I have so many friends, family that are on there. So I wanted to have that in my family room as well. So I decided why I don't need to have two $500 consoles. I went a while ago, and this isn't new. I did this a while ago. I bought a Series S for the family room. And now when I'm playing a game in the office and I'm kind of done in here, go into the family room, I'll turn on my S. I'll watch whatever I'm currently watching, say a Netflix or a Disney Plus, whatever it is. By the way, guys, can't wait to check out the new Hawkeye. But nonetheless, but then after that, I get done. What can I do? I can go ahead and turn on Halo Infinite multiplayer. I can play Forza Horizon 5, and it feels good. It feels real good. Like Crap said, you're playing at your 60 frames or your 120 hertz, depending on your TV of choice. It really is a good console, and for $300, it's out there. It is out there. I did want to kind of read one thing that Jeff Grubb had said when we were talking about the cheating thing, and I'll have to scroll way up, so I apologize. But Jeff was saying that he agrees with everything that we're saying. Jeff, I'm paraphrasing you, by the way. I apologize. But he said the one thing that he does enjoy, he still does tremendously enjoy when on PC gaming with his console friends. I do have to agree with him. I do have to agree with him.
Well, that's why I brought up, like, let us play. First off, I just don't think it should be default on. Like, if you're going to do that, keep it off default. And I personally don't want us, I don't even want it being there, but like, let us play PvE. Like, that's where my perfect scenario is with, like, don't do crossplay with PC on PvP games until they get that fixed, or I feel like until something happens like that where the industry comes together, you're never going to get real growth on cheating. I just don't think you're going to. And until, you know, these companies do something together, I just think everyone's just going to come up with more unique ways of cheating.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree with that. And, you know, I do want to bring this up, and I want to switch subjects slightly, guys. And I know the great Gaming Addict and the great Nicholas Downey have informed me prior to the show that they are unable to talk. Well, they said it all, but, you know, I'm a mooch, so I'm going to try and pry something out of them. No, I'm only kidding, guys. Take it easy, relax. But I will. We're going to talk a little bit about Halo Infinite's campaign, and we had the great Jeff Grubb on, and Jeff's in the audience right now. Jeff kind of told us about what he experienced very, very vaguely. Okay, he did not getting Jeff in trouble either. Just some early experiences with the first 4 hours. And from what I'm hearing, and I guess I'll go to Crap and BRAP here, and Addict, by the way, Addict and Nick, if you guys can say something, please add what you feel you can. You know, don't say anything you're not supposed to say under contract. But I do want to say to Crap and BRAP, I think we're gonna enjoy. I think we're gonna enjoy this Halo experience. And Crap, I know that you said you're gonna wait for the co-op.
I was going to wait.
But
but
from what I'm hearing, I think you can enjoy it alone. I really do.
Well, the problem is there's no way you could not get spoiled for the stories for 6 months. So I had already decided that I'll just play through it myself. You know, if it was just going to be normally till, you know, January, February, but now it looks like that's getting pushed back. So I'm just going to play through it how it is and see how it is. You know, I'm very hopeful that they nailed it. You know, the extra time did them well, and you know, but at the end of the day, yeah, I would have rather played through it co-op just because that's how I've played through every single Halo game ever. So,
yeah, I honestly think that you're gonna, you know, like I said, we've talked to, and there's Jeff. Jeff's in the chat here. Jeff says, I'll just say I really, really enjoyed the preview period more than I ever liked a Halo. I have not loved any Halo campaign. That means something to me because
I have to agree with him.
You know,
I've always felt
too.
like Halo, they were good. No,
they
Reach,
good.
That's an exception.
They were good.
I liked Reach, but I've always felt like
4.
Halo 1 through 3 and 4. It is what it is. Like, I can't say the campaigns are bad. I just felt like the gameplay was something I never really enjoyed. Like, because I don't like those things where it's like clear a room, then a cutscene, clear another room, then a cutscene. Like, and that's kind of like how those older Halos were done. Like, I felt like Reach, the story was so lit, I was accepting on everything else because it's like, you know, these Spartans are pretty much knowing they're gonna die, and you know they're gonna die. You're seeing them die in front of you. So I think that was a little bit better. Now I'm not saying like the Halo campaigns, the original ones, were like bad or anything like that.
No.
I would prefer more like a more dynamic type of gameplay to tell a story.
Yeah, and you know, Addict, thank you for eloquently putting it that way, because to be honest with you, I know you're restricted in what you can do, but in all honesty, I agree with you. And again, I didn't speak to Addict, I didn't speak to Nick about this, I don't know from them. I've just from what I'm reading, from what I'm hearing, just out there in the wild, being, your ear to the ground, I got to be honest with you, I'm just hearing good things about this campaign. Again, I don't know if you're going to say it's a 10 out of 10, but I'm hearing some good things. Go ahead, Nick.
I'll chime in, and I'll be as vague as possible, like Jeff was. For reference, I enjoyed my preview period with the game. You can read that. There's a video. There's an article. You can, if you're interested, you can read that. What I will say, as someone who is incredibly disappointed about the lack of co-op at launch, because for me, Halo was playing the game with my friends.
Yes.
From what I played during the preview period, I had no problem playing this by myself. It was exciting to me. I was interested in what I played. Well,
let me ask you this, and maybe you can answer. See, I hate Far Cry, and Far Cry to me is just kind of had become to a point where it was too open, and you just like wander around into something. Like, is it where you can mark A to B so you can just progress the story? Because I don't really care about side stuff in games or anything like that. I just want to do the story part, move on, do the next story part.
You can easily beeline through the story.
Yeah, it's streamlined. They
do a really good job at it, actually.
Yeah, it's very streamlined. It's very straightforward. There's no confusing, muddling stuff getting in the way. That's how I would put it. Like, I find Far Cry
curious because I don't like wandering in game. You know what I mean?
No. And I said this in my preview. It's compact, and you can do as much as little as you want, and that's what's great about open world games that give you options. Yeah. And I think Far Cry as a whole is just a really bad open world game because they constantly push you to do everything.
I gotta say,
any open world game that tells you that you don't get the full experience unless you do every single thing is a bad open world game. I
did a complete 180. I did a complete 180 in the time of a week. I was so looking forward. You guys know. You guys were listening to the show.
I told you that game was going to be garbage.
I was so looking forward to Far Cry 6 and the mechanics and the way the map was and the way that it just smothered everything all over the place. I just fell out of that game almost instantly. I know. Yeah, Addict, you did a review on it, did you not?
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it.
And I know a few people really enjoyed it too. I know Shout Out to Kids Move. I think he also enjoyed it, if I remember correctly. And I was shocked that it got such good feedback. I kind of just kept my mouth shut and said, well, maybe this is just one of those ones where I don't agree with the masses. I for some reason didn't care for it. And Addict, my biggest problem with Far Cry 6, honest to God, right now, it wasn't the story. It's the mechanics. I mean, the shooting in it, the driving, hell, the running, the walking, it was just bad. It was just bad. The flying, forget about it. It was just bad.
Well,
I don't know how to say it.
I didn't play 6, but I played 5. And after the opening prologue, which I thought was cool, and then they're like, you can go wherever you want. And I was like, well, that's the end of it for me.
5 felt better mechanics-wise. I thought 5 felt better. I really did. And I didn't care for 5.
I was like, that's the end of it for me. It was like, I really liked Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And then where that game fell apart for me was where you have to clear all the boroughs or whatever, right? To beat the game. You had to clear all of them. And I was like, well, that's the end of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you don't force me. I don't want to do every little side quest.
There you go. Crap, you got another bone of confidence right there from Jeff. Jeff Grubb, he says, that's right. You can just go to the yellow marker in Halo Infinite, and you'll advance. You'll also probably get enough upgrade stuff to get your grapple shot maxed out, and that's all you need. So, that's great.
To be honest, like,
I'm going to do everything because I'm
those
crazy,
upgrade things. They're not necessary. Like, you could do them because it's nice to make a Spartan feel like OP, but you can easily play this game without upgrading anything. Like, because all I really did is just grapple everything. Like, I'm obsessed with the grappling, like multiplayer, single player. If I can grapple you, I'm grappling you. Like.
Yeah, I like, you know how when you play Halo, the default thing was you bash everything because it's fun. The grappling hook is the new bash because it's so kinetic and it's so much fun to use. And I think that from my preview period with the game, the grappling hook, it really helped make it a really fun and magnetic experience because it was something, you know how we always talk about, we need that new thing. You want something that's classic, but you also want something new. It's the thing what you might be finding with Far Cry, Mooch, where it's like, I need that thing that it's still going to be Far Cry, but I need something new that makes it feel like exciting again, right?
Right.
And I feel like the grappling hook, and we've seen it in the multiplayer. If you play the multiplayer, you know what I'm talking about. It's that when you land that grapple shot on an enemy and pull yourself in and smack them and knock them down, it's such a great feeling.
I do that shit on accident, man. I'm just like, or I'll grapple behind somebody and then get behind them and punch them.
Yeah,
like I
do know why it was funny. The first few rounds, crap, when I was playing the Halo Infinite multiplayer, I was like, why didn't they make the grapple just a permanent part of Chief or your Spartan?
They should have.
And well, no, you know what though, crap, I gotta say, no way. I mean, when I have it, I utilize it as much as I can. It is the ultimate weapon in multiplayer. That's why it's a pickup item. I think if that was
hard to get it.
Yeah, it's only in a couple areas.
It's like it is with like the guns. Like as long as you know where it is, you can get to it. And then, if you go there and you see someone just pick it up, like, then he just became public enemy number one because I want that.
That's right.
Like, so.
That's right. No, I truly agree with that, too. I do think that's, I think that the multiplayer feels good the way that they have it right now as far as everybody playing equally and fair. I don't feel like that ever happens where, there are a couple times I believe we were playing. Was it Fiesta? Yeah, it was Fiesta. BRAP, you might have been in the game with me, and we were like,
"Yeah, I was there with you."
Doesn't it feel like every single time the enemy team launched or spawned, they always got like rockets.
They had rockets.
They always had rockets, and we got like a squirt gun.
Fiesta's always unbalanced, though. It's always been unbalanced, and I think Fiesta is the one thing that really highlights the fact that Halo's weapon balance on normal is actually really good. So, and we saw that in that match we were playing. Like, it really did feel like it was really unbalanced, where the other team was getting all the power weapons and we were getting, like you said, water pistols.
Yeah, but that was Fiesta only. I gotta say, go ahead, Addict.
I will say that in terms of narrative, I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I really do. Like,
I just hope they kill Master Chief.
I
think they did a fantastic job. Really. Doing what 5 didn't do, and I enjoyed my play. I really did. I hope
they do a Poochie the dog with Locke. I had to go home to my own planet. Goodbye forever. Locke died on his way home.
Well, I don't even think Locke was a bad character.
I didn't either. I didn't think he was bad.
They did a horrible job giving gamers and fans reasons to want Locke in the games. I always felt like they should, like, because when Coalition wanted to make something new, like, they should have let Coalition make like a cover shooter, lock, third person, gory as hell, like behind enemy lines only, right when he's turning into a Spartan. Give people like a whole game with him. Give the fans a reason to like this man before you just made us play as him as the main character. Like,
I think the main difference between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite with this one, and whether you've only played the multiplayer or whatever your experience with this game is, I think the chief difference between it right now is Halo 5 is 343 hyped that game in a direction that story ultimately didn't accomplish. And what they're doing with the marketing for Halo Infinite is kind of brilliant because they're leaving a lot of things in mystery because they know people are going to try this because it's Halo.
Right.
People are interested in it because it's Halo. They don't have to show their entire hand in a campaign trailer to get people to try this. They just have to show enough where people are like, okay, what are you going to do with this? Where in Halo 5, it just felt like they were hand-feeding this narrative to you. And you're like, yeah, this sounds really cool. This sounds really great. And then when you got to the game, it didn't deliver what they were selling to you. And I think 343 learned from that, and the campaign trailers they've shown so far kind of give players an idea of what's to come, but doesn't show a whole lot in the overall sense of what the story direction of the game is.
Well, Halo 5 made it seem like Master Chief was this outcast and they're hunting him down and he might die. And
I think the reason they did that, and it's not excusing them, I think they were so obsessed with pushing the eyes away from Cortana that they didn't want make you even believe that will happen. What the end game where Cortana goes rogue and tries to take over the whole universe. They don't want people thinking that. The problem is like you could easily have marketed that game differently and still not bring up Cortana. Like,
right. I completely agree with that.
A lot of people thought that it misled their marketing misled. That's how
they
I felt
definitely
about
did.
it.
They definitely did.
Yeah. Now let me ask you guys a question. This has nothing to do with the fact that you've played this is a question, and Jeff, if you're in the chat, please do answer this too if you happen to know. How long do you think we have to wait for the next continuation? And you might go, well, Mooch, come on, that's an insane question. You have to wait what, 3-4 years? Okay, that's fine.
I ain't answering this.
Well, no, you don't. I don't.
No.
Okay, if you can't, you can't. I don't, and I didn't. I literally thought about this right now. The only reason I'm asking it is because this is a game that's 10 years. You know, it's going to be a 10-year game, and they don't mean that just for the multiplayer. I think they mean that for the game. Period. I was just wondering, and if you can't answer it, please don't. But crap or BRAP, if you guys have an answer,
didn't they already leak that there was going to be 4 DLCs already? Or something like
well,
that.
I'm asking you, is that something we're going to see, crap, probably in the next... Will we get more... I'll call it that. Will we get Halo Infinite DLC story? Will we get that campaign in about a year? 18 months?
I think you'll probably... I think they'll probably do what they did with Destiny, right? Like, do a big update.
So once a year?
Once or one. Don't they do... Didn't they do 2 a year with Destiny? I don't know. Probably something like that.
How they do it is on Destiny, now they have these seasons where they expand the lore every season, and they it's kind of like building blocks. They're building up the anticipation to that big expansion.
Okay. Yeah, that's what Destiny does. But when Destiny has like what's their new one coming out? Attic, I know you're on top of it. Is it the Witch? What is it there? What's coming out in the next couple of months?
The Witch Queen is in February.
Witch Queen in February. Thank you. But do they do it? They do a yearly drop, don't they?
Well, that one was delayed out of this year. It was originally supposed to come out this year, but got delayed into February.
Right, so Jeff
most
said
of the time, though,
you guys said. So, guys, don't answer that question. I literally just thought about it, but Jeff said he doesn't feel comfortable answering it. Don't answer that question if you're under embargo. Please don't.
When it comes to like Destiny, like generally they come out like every September.
Yeah.
But this time, because of COVID reasons, it was pushed back to 2022.
Okay. That's what I thought. I thought that Destiny was doing something roughly on that time schedule as well, Attic. Listen, guys. This has nothing to do with Attic, Nick, or Jeff. This is for BRAP Crapper in the chat. I'm hoping they do give us content somewhere between 12 and say 12 and 16 months. I don't know. I'm making that number up out of thin air. But
I think you have to do content before that, right?
Crap. I don't know. I don't know if I think
mean,
once
if this
a year.
is a
I think
living
once a
game,
year. I think
man,
once a year is plenty. To be honest with you.
I mean, I guess depending on how long it takes just to bare bones beat this game.
Well, let's just. I'll make a number up.
Let's just 6 to 8 hours.
Say 6 hours to run through it. 6 hours of campaign. You're going to get that yearly. You think that's bad?
I think that you would have to do 2 DLCs at that point a year.
2 at 6 apiece.
It just depends on how big they would be. Like if they're big,
that's true.
Really expanding on the story, you can do 1 a year. But if they're not big, you're gonna
Island
have to do 2.
size where it took you 14 hours and yeah. But if it's like Hive Busters 2 hours, then yeah, I think you'd have to do a couple.
Yes, I don't think I personally would not. Yeah, I don't. If it was like a Hive Busters, then you would need more. Yeah, Hive Busters you could do in like. You could do that in like a dinner. You know what I mean?
It doesn't sound like they're coming out with another Halo like a campaign, so they have to do it in these little, I guess, in like DLC.
Right, they're going to do them in and that's clear. That I knew. I was wondering how sparse they're going to be apart from each other. That's all. I was wondering.
I hope it's not. I hope you get for people to keep interest. I would hope that they would do 6 months. Like wouldn't it be good to get something next holiday or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. If they came out every holiday, that would be great.
I think that would be fine.
No, that really would be. No, and I think
it's lengthy enough.
Like I said, I knew coming into tonight's show that, I didn't know until before the show. I really wanted to kind of get into a little bit more of the Halo talk, but I was not aware that the guys that I didn't realize half the panel was reviewing the game. So I did not know that was the case. Shame on me for not doing my homework on that. But I got to say, I'm excited about it. Here we are. We are the week before the big release. I think that you're going to see a lot of people playing it. Myself personally, am I enjoying the Halo multiplayer? Yes. We're not going to get into the whole thing there. The last 2 weeks we discussed Halo multiplayer's pros and cons, the issues of 343 and the things they're doing right. I will say this much. I've always played Halo for the campaign. The multiplayer is nice. I think it's fun. I think it's a nice change, especially from someone like me who likes Call of Duty and Warzone. It's a real nice change of pace. I really like it. I'm enjoying what I'm playing so far. But it's the campaign that I'm looking forward to.
Me too.
So, yeah, and crap, and I believe even BRAP may feel that way as well. I will say this much, though, guys, before we do exit for the evening. Please take a second to hit that like button while we have just about 300
hit the
people
like
still
button.
here.
We're almost at 100.
Yes,
let's
please
get over 100.
Get it over 100, please. Use all those powers of yours and hit those buttons. The other thing is that we are going to have the huge Twitch show that I'm going to be doing is going to be this Wednesday. So I'm hoping to be able to do the Halo Infinite campaign, starting with that, and then I was going to in the early morning. This is the plan. I know for certain I'm going to be doing the new Warzone map. When that comes out, that'll probably also get hit with server issues naturally. So we'll probably wait an hour or two after it launches so they get all the bugs and hiccups out of the way. But go over to twitch.tv, the Mooch78, same name as we have here, and we really put a lot of work and effort into making that work. And I will also make a promise to the panel and to the chat. I've already talked to Jay while the show was going on. I'm going to reorder some new cables that I have here. I think it's a cable issue, but I'll make sure that the audio and the crackling does not happen next week. I thought we fixed it.
Sounds much better now.
It is better now. It is better now.
Earlier, when you talked and other people talked,
well, mine wasn't doing it. The audience
said
said that mine wasn't doing it. They said it was only when the panel was talking, and that's because you guys are you're on a completely different line than I am, which makes sense. So I'll try a new line out. I'll work out the kinks. I'll have a couple of tests. I'm going to probably bother BRAP, Crap, and a couple other people to give me a couple of quick sound bites just during the week to make sure we have some good audio. But I do want to say thanks to everybody that's here.
I'll fart in a mic for you if you need it.
Yeah, absolutely, Crap. I prefer a burp, but nonetheless, Pickers, I'll take what we can get. Let me go in reverse order here and say shout out to the great Jimmy Harrison. He says, great show, guys.
Hey, Mooch.
Yes.
You have to do my order because I got to go.
No, okay, let me do the great Crap Gamer. Crap, go ahead and plug the channel and let people know where they can find you. And I can't wait to talk to you again next week when I hear your opinions on the great Halo Infinite campaign.
Crap Gamer Reviews, appreciate it. Good show. Sorry, I just got to go. I mean, it's already 10 after, so usually I would already been out of here, but I know we were shorthanded tonight. So
appreciate that.
Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe if you haven't already.
Thank you, Crap, very much, and I wish you. I can't wait to speak to you
guys.
after the Halo Infinite campaign release. Thanks, Crap.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm downloading now.
It's gonna be great. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool, Crap.
Later,
Thank
guys.
you so much, buddy. And then I've got my buddy. I don't remember the exact reverse order here, but I'm going to go ahead and start with Nicholas Downey. Nick, thanks so much for being here tonight, buddy. Like I said, outstanding to have you here. Love your voice of reason as well, buddy. I actually, it's funny. You and Addict being on the show and not being able to talk about it. I know it's tough to book people 2 weeks in a row. I'll bother you guys next week. Even if it's just a quick cameo. Yeah, Addict, I appreciate that. I'd love to have you guys on, even if you can't stay for the full 2 hours. We'll make Halo the very first topic. I really want to get into what you guys think because you guys at that point will be able to speak freely, A. B, majority of people will only be a couple of hours in. Comes out Wednesday, right? Friday. Hardcore people will probably beat it twice. But nonetheless, they would love to hear it. So I would love to hear that too. Nicholas, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Nick, outstanding to have you. Let people know that they can find you and read your great articles, buddy. Love the work that you do and the commitment you put into the community and your positive vibes. So let people know where they can find you, Nick, and thanks for being here this evening.
Absolutely. And you can find me on Twitter if you like at Nicholas_Downey. And you can find all my written work at lordsofgaming.net. I've got 3 reviews over the next 4 days that I'm dropping. So it's going to be a fun time. So stay tuned for that.
Not only God bless you for all the games. Go
I
ahead,
don't
Addict.
know, Nick. I don't know if we're even allowed to say when the embargo's up, but I'm not going to, just to be on the safe side. But definitely be looking on the IOP channel too, because we will be dropping a review too.
There you go. No, absolutely. I was going to say that same thing, Addict. Addict, let people know, please. Thank you for being here tonight, Lord Addict. I appreciate it, man. I know you got a lot of stuff going on too with the reviews and this and that, and just everything that's going on with the channel too over there. Tremendous success, outstanding stuff going on over at the Iron Lords podcast. But Addict, always love having you on here, man. Like I said, you know what's great about having you on here is that I generally do agree with a lot of the things you say. I myself, for a show, always like to look at the other side and have a great debate about it. So you are definitely very good at that. And that's what I love about having you on the show, man. You're not bashful. You're not shy at all. You know what you're talking about. You've played the games. So, Addict, just like I always say, can't wait till you're back on the show. I hope you can make it next Friday because I'm going to ask you.
I will. I'll be off then. I'll be here.
Appreciate
just
that.
Make
Let
it,
people
make
know they
it
can
the first
find
topic.
you.
Just make it the first topic.
I will make it the first topic. I promise, Addict.
I appreciate the invite, Mooch. You know, it's Addict. You definitely check me out on the Iron Lords podcast. I deliver positivity in the most toxic way you could think.
This is true.
And you know, I enjoy everyone coming through. It was a nice show. It was a nice conversation. Didn't get too left. See, I always have to have like my battle helmet on that I can put that shit on at any moment.
That's why it's called Crossfire, Addict. Absolutely.
I didn't have to put that on. It was tucked in the drawer. I didn't need it today. But I definitely appreciate the invite. Like Nick said, definitely be tuning into the Iron Lords podcast channel and tuning into the lordsofgaming.net for those reviews when they drop in the foreseeable future. I appreciate the invite, and I will see you next week here.
Thank you, Addict. That means the world to me. I truly appreciate it. And then the great Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, who's now known as Amikio Rules, apparently. I don't know. He just changed it mid-show. He does that. BRAP. Let people know where they can find you. And as always, man, great to have you here this evening.
Yeah, man, great show, Mooch. As always, you know, just looking forward to Halo next week, which is kind of cool. It's the first Halo in what, like 6 years?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Is that right?
Been a minute.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't even in my 40s yet when that game came out 6 years ago. So lots has changed. But no, great show, man. Yeah, definitely come hang out with us. I say us, me and the BRAP panel, the BRAP guys, Slow-Mo Backslap, B-Money 101, Eric Jackson, and Gaming Forte every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be doing kind of our Halo early review next Wednesday.
Yes,
you know,
that's right.
I'm going to be, yeah. So, yeah, come hang out with us.
Lucky you, BRAP. That's interesting. You never get a game release on a Wednesday. That's like
I
gold.
never
baby.
do.
That's gold.
Yeah, it's gold.
Nice
so
work.
it's probably going to be the only topic that we talk about Wednesday
I could see
night.
that. Yeah, I don't really see you
Yeah,
getting
I'm gonna
into, you know, I could see that, my friend.
Yeah, Attic. Hey, Attic, are you available Wednesday, by the way?
Uh-oh. Dual
That
bucking.
will be probably not. Kid Smooth's probably going to try to snatch me for playing the Xbox. The funny thing is, I promised him I'll come on this week, and I fell asleep and I missed it. So,
You
I
own
gotta
one,
go
man.
there next
You own
week.
one.
But and with the funny thing is, you know, I might have to delay the Attic show to like Thursday or something. I don't know. That's the Game Awards. Okay, it's gonna have to be Tuesday regardless. I'm not gonna move it. But yeah, definitely appreciate the invite.
Awesome,
absolutely.
man. This is going to be
I'll
great.
see you
I'm
another
looking
time,
forward to everybody's show the next week. As getting the difference of opinions on a great game like Halo is going to be very, very interesting to hear. Guys, again, I want to say thank you to everybody. Xbot448 couldn't make it. It's Xbot448 everywhere. Go check him out there. And the great Gaming Forte at Gaming_Forte. And they did a great DPS show last night. Go check him and Slow-Mo out as well. Guys, we'll be back next Friday. But again, if you want to get a lot more Mooch, we are going to be having a regular streaming schedule. I'll have everything up next week. And on the Twitch channel, when we're live, I will be doing a game giveaway that you are not going to want to miss. Trust me. It's a Mooch78, same as it is here over on Twitch. Go over there.
He's giving away
follow.
V-Bucks.
I'm giving away V-Bucks. That's great. But nonetheless, guys, it's going to be an outstanding show. Please go over and check it out when we go live. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Thank everybody. We'll see you guys next Friday. Enjoy gaming this weekend. Peace out, everybody. Good night.
Adios.